Good evening and welcome to the DPMF live show. It's February the 1st, 2026, Sunday night with episode 106. We're your hosts, Daniel, the mastermind behind DPMF, a leading FinTech company based out of London. We've got Wesley assisting with the future AVA Chronicles. We've got Crypto Palace, our resident paramedic, Raylene doing the socials, me, myself, Mike from latest Crypto XRP, and the wonderful Live3. And today we're going to have a fun DPMF update Sunday. So, without further ado, is it to the markets? I don't know if it's actually to the markets.
Absolutely. We can jump to the markets.
Do we do a few nuggets?
No, that's after.
You know what? I actually had a little brain freeze.
Remember what Palace said. It's markets, then nuggets. It's markets, then nuggets.
No, but sometimes there's nuggets and then the markets. Or should we sandwich it? Should we do some nuggets, markets, and then a few more nuggets? Or what should we do?
Well, let's start with the markets, and we might interfere there. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Come on. Let's go. All right. So, I mean, the markets are looking pretty miserable. It's a lot of red. There's a lot.
Allow me to step in, Mike, and save your bacon. I can see you struggling. Okay.
I was actually all right. I was finding my flow.
Yeah, that's right. You'll get it. It'll come with time. Okay. So I'm sure most are aware the market's looking pretty bad. We was actually having a phone call about this, about 15 minutes ago, talking about it. For anyone who does technical analysis on Bitcoin, there's actually a large the Elliott wave structure that goes into an ABC correction. I haven't looked at it more in detail yet, but it could be quite long term, so it's interesting to see. And so I'll start with it. Bitcoin is sitting at $76,905, down 11% on the 7-day. Ethereum has massively tumbled, sitting at $2,313, down 17.7% on the 7-day. Tether ranked at number 3. Binance BNB ranked at number 4 is sitting at $755, down 12% on the 7-day. Our XRP is below $1.60, sitting at $1.59, down 12.5% on the 7-day.
Let me interfere just a little bit. Here's a little nugget for Mike. Binance, since you just mentioned Binance had said a few days back that they were going to buy about $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, and what they ended up doing was they ended up selling $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. So I think they try to pump the market a little bit before they sold. They're playing a little, hide the little peanut underneath the shell. So I think they know bad times are coming, man.
This is nothing new. We've always, this has been the case for a long time. Yeah. Are you happy for me to continue?
I am happy now. Go ahead. Continue. Carry on, chap. Carry on.
By the way, I've got an XRP prediction at 55 cents. I'm throwing that in there now. And I got that from months ago when I had the top at $3.60. And I think it's going to take a bit of time to get there.
Yes.
I'm just throwing that in now. So it's on the recording.
You did call it 55 cents, and you also called the top at 360, and now everybody's crying because they're saying, oh shit, he's right.
I didn't actually know it was at the top. We done it on the show, didn't we? When I was going through it, I went, oh, XRP, $3.65. Oh, that's my top. But yeah, I think generally we've got with the main net currencies, I think we've got quite a bearish time coming. Anyway, I'll continue. USDC is ranked at number 6, sitting at, $1. I just done a whiz. Ranked at number 7 is Solana, sitting at $101, down 13% on the 7-day. Ranked at number 8 is Tron, sitting at 28 cents, which is only down 2% on the 7-day, so it's held up quite nicely. Ranked at number 9 is Dogecoin, which is sitting at 10 cents, down 12% on the 7-day. And Cardano has dropped out the top 10 and been replaced by Bitcoin Cash, which is at $518, which is down 8.76% on the 7-day. But I feel because we always touch on Cardano, I'm going to touch on it. Ranked at number 11, Cardano, ADA, sitting at 28 cents, down 14% on the 7-day, and then underneath that, ranked at number 12, is Hyperliquid.
Hey, did anybody see that one post about Tron? Apparently there was somebody that worked at Tron said that he had emails from Justin's son, that they were going to artificially pump it. Did anybody catch that?
Negative.
If I did, I would have jumped straight on it.
Well, you have time to buy right now. I hear it's gonna go up pretty high. There, Wes. Buy the top, man. Buy the top. You gotta buy the top, Wes.
Oh, just one quickly, because I know Snowfly's in the room. Snowfly, got your message, mate. I have been away out of office for nearly 3 weeks. I've actually been out of the UK. I only got back about a day and a half ago, whatever it was. So got your message, and I'll chase you up at some point this week, mate, because I know he's been messaging me about Megabits. Just want to throw that in and catch him while he's online.
What kind of a pump are we talking on TRX?
Oh no, this was back. This supposedly had already occurred, and the reviewer or the poster, excuse me, had I think he says he had some proof through emails and stuff about Justin's son, and that he wanted to get in touch with somebody at the SEC, but he didn't know to whom to talk to. And so he just put it out, tagging the SEC, to please connect with him, and that he would forward all the proof about this, artificial fake Tron pump. So yeah, I found that interesting. It's like, well, I mean, he's already been arrested, so I don't know if they can do anything about it. Cause he's already been released, right? Hasn't he? Yeah, he was in and out already.
Who Justin's son? Yeah. I didn't know that.
I think so. Yeah.
Cause TRX was quite early on, it was looking like quite a good chain, TRX.
Well, I'm not saying it's not a good chain. I'm just saying that this was said, and I don't know how true it is. It may be just complete bollocks, Who knows?
I did like their sort of, they had like a mechanism where you vote regularly, which was quite good with TRX. And the rewards were quite decent.
Yeah, I don't know much more. I just thought I'd pass on that post.
Do you know what? To be honest, the most with TRX as well, because Justin's son was the one that bought that banana, wasn't it? For like how many millions?
Oh, I wasn't aware that he bought a banana.
You didn't know about that banana?
I knew
duct tape to the
I knew
wall or
about the
something.
banana art. I just didn't know who had bought it.
And then he ate it.
No way. Did he actually eat it?
I'm pretty sure. You know what? I'm pretty sure he bought it and ate it.
You know that banana is replaceable,
Yes.
It's replaceable. There's a lot of bananas at the store.
It's the most expensive banana.
Just thrown it away. I suppose you'd have to eat it because it would just rot.
Yeah.
It would just be gone. I didn't know that. I knew there was a banana and a bit of tape on a wall, but I didn't know they'd eaten it.
Unless it's a plastic banana.
Right, come on in. Are we on nuggets already? Have we slid into nuggets?
I think we somehow slid into the nuggets since you already finished number 11.
Hang on. So hang on. I didn't get a catch up with you guys just briefly. How you been the past few weeks? Because I couldn't make the last 2 shows.
Yeah, we missed you. We knew you were, running around, being chased by hyenas or something.
No, I'll tell you what, I was in some catastrophic weather though. I had, I was cold for a long time, very cold, but all good now.
Can you share with us where you were besides just cold, or you can't share with us that information?
I was on planet Earth. And
is this the round Earth or the flat Earth?
Oh, no, don't get me started on that crap. No, yeah, I had to go away quite quickly, and do some stuff. No, but I'm done now. Now I'm back in and catching up on everything and pulling everything together bit by bit.
Good.
Because you said about the weather, I think that does narrow it down.
Yeah,
if you really think
to
about
half the world.
Yeah.
it.
I wasn't in the desert, if that's what you're getting at.
Hey, wasn't there something about that Dubai had some snow recently? Thought I saw a post on that too. Oh, I think it was Dubai that had some snow or something like that. I guess nobody saw that either.
Never. I haven't. No, I might check it though. I'm just having a look. I'm just catching up with some crypto news. Actually, I've got it all in front of me, seeing what I've missed.
That sounds pretty catastrophic if Dubai is getting snowed, doesn't it?
Russia had a lot of snow, haven't they? They've had some terrible snow.
Where's that?
Russia, they've had some real heavy snow, about
Oh,
18
I'd
foot or something crazy.
expect it from Russia.
Oh,
Do you know,
I think
it's so British, yeah, for a load of Englishmen to go on and talk about the weather. I don't see any other countries ever going right. And then we'll talk about weather in places where we don't even live or care. Right?
So
That's a
true.
very
So
British
true.
thing to do.
so. What
My
you
mum,
talk about?
my mum, right? If I ring her up and we have a conversation, I say, right, mum, I've got to go now. I've got this to do. I'll call you next week. And she's like, yeah, okay, no worries, dear. Oh, did you see what the weather was like in Glasgow last week? And I'll be like, no, mum, I didn't. And I don't live there either, so I'm not overly bothered. She does it to me every time. Always finishes on the weather.
And you're gonna miss that, mate. You're gonna miss that weather talk.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
no
the
doubt.
day comes, and you're gonna miss
Yeah,
it.
no doubt.
No, but I think Wesley was talking about in Russia that city was starts with a K, Kamachaka or Kamachatla or something like that. Yeah, to where they had very severe like snow blizzards, and it actually completely covered buildings or like 4 or 5 foot story buildings. Completely covered some of them. And it's like, wow, I mean, how do you even, I guess they're used to it, but how do you get around? I mean, where would you even start clearing the snow? Where would you put all that snow if you start clearing the streets, you know?
I mean, I might sound very small-minded by saying this, but as soon as Wes said Russia, I just automatically thought, haven't they always got a problem with the snow?
I'm talking about Siberia and stuff.
Okay. I'm thinking of Rocky, right in Rocky, where he's fighting the Russian, and then he's training in all that snow.
Fighting Draco.
So from that moment forward, Russia just equals snow.
Hey, I've just read, sorry, I don't mean to jump in. I just want to catch this. Is any of you involved with Step Finance and Solana?
No.
261,000 Solana, a total of $26 million moved from compromised wallets. The platform is investigating and working with security teams. Bloody, what? Okay. I'm not involved in them, but I'd heard about it. So that's still happening then in the crypto space then? We're still getting drained in places. There's a few scams cutting around, isn't there, as well, with NFTs or something? Live Free tipped me off about it.
Yeah, that was the one where supposedly they would send you a free NFT and it would supposedly print out or say it was a zero fee. And then somehow when you accepted it, you signed the transaction, it actually did have a cost to it that was not exposed. That's from what I saw, but then that's when I texted you. It's like, how is this even possible? And then eventually Witsy, came up saying, no, this is not possible. It would absolutely have to have some sort of fee.
That's right, yeah.
That's
That's what I said to you. So when XLS 20 went live years ago, we was testing that, sending NFTs to each other. And then we were so I could send one to one of the testers, but I could put a price on it, but it's only to him. So it's not to like anyone. It's only to that address. So I could slap on like a 5 XRP. Do you accept? Then you have to sign. And that would be on Zaman, which is what I was telling you about. It would come up with the price.
Yeah, so I think the miscommunication there was that they're passing around was that it was in the description part of it, not in the signature part of it, and the fee part of it. So you know how you have it's like what's the signature for, or why you're sending money to this, and you have a little description of this is for payment for a podcast, or this is for payment for this is payment for that.
Yeah.
So they would put that description saying it's a zero fee, it's a free gift. And then most people would just swipe it and not really look at the fine detail as like the actual fee is, 150 XRP or whatever. So apparently these scammers would look at your wallet, see what you have in your wallet, and then send you the NFT for that amount, for that fee, but put it in the description that it's free. And most people just look at the free part and don't look at the actual fee part of it, and they would sign.
It's like a broker fee, if you like.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. Apparently they were scammed in that manner. So yeah, always look at when you sign, what the fee is, not what the description. I mean, you can look at the description too. But yeah, always look at the fee part of it, not necessarily just the description part of it.
Yeah, well, just don't accept random NFTs from random people.
Oh, you know what? BitHump came out, when all this stuff came out, saying, I didn't know you could do that. They said that you can actually go into BitHump, into the signing portion of it where you log in. And there's a section in it where you can actually detail that, to tell the XRPL to not send you any NFTs, and they would block all the NFT transfers. It would only be actual buy purchase transactions of currency. It would completely block any kind of NFT transfer to your account. I did not know that existed.
No, I didn't either, to be honest. I didn't know you could. Makes sense though. I know if certain individuals with wallets, if they don't have a trust line, they now get a credit line, I think it's called, isn't it? So you can actually sign the credit line where it activates the trust line and you'll receive said assets. I never really understood fully why. I think trust lines have slowed us down a little bit, because if you're going to be sent free assets, then you've sent free assets. Just have an area of the wallet where it's segregated so you can go into there and have a look. Because it kind of slows things down, especially when it comes to payments. I know there was an issue with the XLS20 protocol with the validators. If you offered to buy an NFT in another currency, it would automatically give the NFT owner or the issuer the trust line to then accept them currencies, and they turned that off. And that was actually a bit of a killer. If you look at the grand scheme of things, if you don't look at NFTs as just artwork, if you look at them beyond artwork, it's actually a bit of a killer for sort of multi-currency interoperability. So yeah, it was a bit of a shitter. And I think trust lines have been, I think there's just another hurdle we probably don't really need on the ledger. I think that's what I think. I can't see a reason why it's intrusive to just be sent free assets, other than maybe it would take up some reserve. But if you have no reserve, you don't have the trust line, and you could just sell the assets you've been given for free and increase your reserve. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes. And I'm wondering if it's actually done on purpose, by Ripple. I mean, you can say it's like, well, Ripple doesn't control the XRPL. Yeah, they do. They
could
do.
be. Well, I tell you what, they say it's a decentralized ledger. What letter does every address start with? What letter is it? It starts with an R.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right, R.
It doesn't start with an X. It starts with an R.
You're right.
You fell for that one. You fell for that one.
I was thinking XRPL.
And Ripple, I was a big fan of Ripple years ago. I'm not actually a big fan of them anymore. When I read some of the emails and that they've been up to, I was a bit, I've stepped aside a little bit. I don't have as much respect as I did, but I still do like them, if that kind of makes sense. But when they poach on about saying that the network is completely decentralized, I go, actually, it can look like that on face value, but if you look at it in detail, especially the validators, most of the validators, in some way, or was anyway, I suppose years ago, involved with Ripple. But yeah, all wallet addresses, they start with an R, and I'm pretty sure the R is not for wallet. So,
Well, but you know what? That's and that's kind of like what you're saying. It's like, yeah, you know, you have the validators having to vote for amendments and stuff, but Ripple is the one that says, all right, well, let's actually put this
well,
amendment up for
exactly.
vote.
Look at XLS 38 D. I remember we we still have a paper we wrote on that years ago supporting that for with the witness servers, for cross-chain functionality. We had an entire plan behind it and a whole development thesis, and Ripple just turned it off. And I can understand why they did, from a perspective of where they want everyone to be involved in XRP. I can get it, but it does show that they do control a lot of what is released. It's not as decentralized as you might think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's got a touch of centralization to it. Yeah, we may vote on amendments and we may do this and do that, but eventually somebody has to put them up for voting. And like you said, they can bring it down or shut it down. So I mean, it's not a true decentralized system. I mean, it's decentralized in the sense of, you can create your own project on the XRPL. You don't have to ask for the permission, but you just have to work along the same, along the lines of those amendments.
I think it will. I think in time it will eventually grow into one. I do actually believe that. When everything starts, there's always an element of centralization somewhere. There kind of has to be, because you have to govern it to sort of, get it on board. Excuse me. So I do get that. But I think in time, I know Ripple will eventually pull away from the XRP ledger. Probably when they've had enough of selling XRP because they've run out or something. But then when that happens over time, I think the XRP currency will mainly act as a pipeline asset. It will be everywhere. It will be in enough places where people just own XRP to use, and it wouldn't be so much for investments. I don't think. I think it would just be used for fuel, similar to Ethereum.
Like we had said on the call, I think it's just going to end up being just a currency to use as opposed to an investment. Just exactly what I had said.
Yeah.
And it'll lose luster, but it still have usage. And then what's going to be all nice and shiny would be the XRPL projects, using that, as the rails in essence.
I think so. I think, that will obviously coexist, digital code value. But if you're talking about trading value, then it's going to come to a point where I know there's a lot of hype about XRP going to $100, $1,000, and actually practically that's completely possible. The only thing that people are not looking at is time, and it's probably not going to be within our lifetime because of the deflationary capability. But I think there needs to be a lot more maturity with assets. I can say that even for ourselves. We're still developing stuff that involve assets. I know there's a lot of projects out there that are developing stuff with assets, and I think we need just a bit more maturity where it's used beyond basic protocol, as in basic XRPL protocol, and start exploring some really niche, amazing things you can do with assets. That will be the attraction. And then later combining from the digital world into the real world, where you'll be able to use digital assets for payments, which is kind of where the banking system's coming in now, where they're issuing stable coins. They're going to try and take the lead on it, I think. But I think using any asset for payments is absolutely fine. And should be, and we should push that as a network. Absolutely. And I know we will be as well in the future and in years to come. We'll be supporting all assets for payments commercially. Absolutely.
Well, technically we already are. I mean, we have
in the digital realm, we are.
We have all currency minting, and then you have the all currency sales, and on top of that, Fusion doesn't charge any commission fees. I mean, that's a lot of support. That's a lot of support for any project, and it's in essence is permissionless. You don't have to ask for permission to come and mint your 3D NFTs, or any kind of NFT.
You
And
don't, but that is
so,
still, so this is all still the digital ecosystem, which is actually quite small. So the user base on the DEX, on the decentralized exchange, is actually quite small. In fact, I'd argue a lot of exchanges are probably a lot smaller than they play out to be. But that's in the digital ecosystem. It's how do you tie that into buying physical products? And that's where there'll be a big change, going into a multi-currency world.
well, but you know what? That's kind of like you had said earlier, and in one of the many updates that we've had before that we've discussed about it. A credit card, a crypto credit card, and you tie that to whatever coin that you want to use as your base asset as a debit card. As opposed to a credit card. So it's a debit card based on your holdings. And
Yeah,
so you can buy
the
it. You can
difference
buy
is
anything you
though,
want.
you're right. There's the traditional finance side with using credit cards, but the problem you have is that the blockchain is very transparent and very immutable. So if you want to use credit, you need collateral. Now you can argue that in our everyday lives, collateral is your everyday working job. Do you own a mortgage? Do you own a car? What assets do you own? Are you invested in certain areas which are highly liquid, which can support you having collateral? On blockchain, that's where I see NFTs having a big role, and I think gaming NFTs are going to be the first ones to go there. Artwork potentially, but artwork is not overly liquid. I'm not saying it's not liquid. I'm just saying it's not overly liquid. But if you have NFTs which are used as like gaming assets, which I just spoke of, let's say even a key to something. I'm trying to think of a good example. I'm a bit on the spot of it, but anyway. If an NFT has a specific use case which is in demand, you can use that as collateral, which can then be used as credit. So that's where it changes. That's where we step away into a new form of finance and not so tied into the old one.
Well, we had kind of talked about it earlier too. It's like, it's a possibility that you could have an NFT that, you pay a certain amount for, and it is backed by, by whatever. Let's say, all right, this company, has 10 ounces or 100 ounces of gold in the bank. I am going to sell you this NFT to you, for the cost of 1 ounce of gold. Let's just say flat 1 ounce is 5,000. I know it's a little bit less.
You'd be talking about an RWA.
Yes, it's a real world asset. And
yeah.
So you could use that as your collateral. And once that collateral is done, the issuing person that the issuer of that NFT can burn it, and so then you lose that collateral, but you've already used it in let's say in the credit card.
That's exactly
or debit.
That's exactly the kind of use case or one of them anyway, where NFTs would come in. That especially, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of different ways. I mean, there's people who are so ingenious out there. I mean, there's so many ways people can scam you. I'm sure there's a lot of different ways that people can help you too,
Yeah. It's such I love this technology, but there's some bloody bad people out there, and it's bloody frustrating because it puts everyone else off. Should we go into the meat of it? Shall we, before we do a 45-minute intro?
One more thing. Vamsi, you asked to request coming up. You have some nuggets to share with us, Vamsi.
Hi, I had questions mostly, but I can say I'm a seed investor in Ripple funded projects, like their RWA companies, and I know that they're like very, very much pushing to get as much volume on the XRPL through that method, and building technology on the mainnet specifically to accommodate for it, because it wasn't equipped before and they didn't want to use the EVM sidechain to build it out. So I don't think that their intentions are to abandon the XRPL. Considering all that, I know one of the companies based out of Ireland is going to be looking to put over 200 million of volume on in the coming months. So
we actually a few weeks ago, or was it? And when was it? I know some of the panel were with me in London. We actually went to an art gallery to do a demonstration, of producing an RWA in real time of their physical artwork. So we've got a Chris who's not up here today. We got some kit and equipment, a digital scanner. So we're able to scan physical objects into 3-dimensional files and then tokenize them on chain. So I've actually been speaking to galleries about that, and Chris is actually actively
Oh,
right now. So
oh wow. We need to connect
yeah.
because my whole background has been in art for the last over 20 years, and I'm just spoke with the Brooklyn Museum to launch a pilot program for tokenizing parts of their collection. I have a really good friend that's on the board there, as well as the National Gallery of Art. And it was to create revenue streams for them because, with the new Trump administration, there's massive layoffs, and I wanted them to be able to tap into the assets that they had to create a revenue stream to offset all of that damage. But yeah, it's a long way off because these traditional institutions are very, very reluctant to incorporate any of this blockchain stuff. As soon as you
Oh,
say
it
it, they're like,
scares the hell out of them.
yes, it really, really does. But that's why you have to have an insight. That's why I spent the previous year just traveling all over the world and making connections, with major gallery owners like Gagosian. I had to donate a work to the Brooklyn Museum through Gagosian too, and also like making friends around the world with curators and museum directors and so on and so forth. But that was just like laying a small foundation and building trust because it's a very tight inner circle. And if you're not introduced through the right people, no one's going to listen to you. That's why it's like it hasn't taken off because they're very archaic institutions. But I would love to get with you in exploring, if you'd want to exploring any avenues to build this out. Anyway,
Yeah, I'll drop you a message after this.
okay.
One thing I discovered, so we went to about 12, 15 galleries in Manchester, visited a few in London. One thing that they were really interested in was the additional layer of being able to purchase artwork. So they could leave everything as they are. They don't have to actually do very much. We've almost got a system completely in place where we could go into a gallery, scan, chip, and catalog everything for them. So then it's all tokenized on chain. So we've got a system pretty much almost in place to do that. And it's one of the things we're exploring. But the big one that they were interested in, when I told them, that there's the capability on this network to trade not just in Great British Pound USD, but Euro, and then all the other major chain assets, they were very interested in that. For the future. So we have captured some attention, in the UK, going forward. So we'll see where that goes, but it's kind of testing and
Well, that's
adjusting.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary. We was, I think, is Wes up here? Yeah, Wes is here. We was standing next to artwork worth like hundreds of thousands of dollars with their scanning a shoe as a demonstration. We're doing this demonstration and all these people, who were there, the security and that come over looking, cause they'd never seen anything like it. We was able to turn it into a file, which makes it, and then tokenize it, to qualify it to have on chain. So it's very exciting stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, there's so much scope to explore in the art world, obviously, trillions, but even in terms of collectors, me being one for so long, like I came up with this because my husband, was a banker, and when I was collecting art, he would always ask me, what is the return on investment and what is the, year by year, and if it doesn't make this much, then you have to consider another asset class. And so I was thinking, when if you could uh, tokenize part of your collection, the collectors could, then it would create a completely different way. Like, it would expand the scope of collecting and what you could do with your collections as well. I mean,
absolutely.
yeah,
It's huge.
I went, yeah, and also most huge collectors are very much like museums, where I went to so many collectors' homes throughout the world, and they hang maybe like 2 to 5% of what they own on their walls, and they either rotate or most of it is in storage. Even for me, majority of my collection is in storage. So, and also there'll be some stuff set aside to sell, so it would be incredible to be able to tokenize it and get either revenue or use it as collateral. There's many ways, even if you tokenize it to take loans against it, and because banks do offer that, but I was speaking to my bank in terms of the way that they offer that, and it has to be a minimum $10 million value, and it also has to be a highly liquid collection for them to consider offering loans against it as an asset. But if you tokenize it in this way, you just broaden that too.
Well, you know what? Since you're talking about having some of your artwork in storage, like you said, you can tokenize it, create an NFT, and then with the capability that's coming up real soon with Fusion, you're going to be able to see it in augmented reality. And so you don't
And
have
that would be
to have it
amazing.
collected. You don't have to see it, collecting dust somewhere in a corner in a special, underground bunker or underground vault or whatever. You can just look, show, hey honey, look at this picture, and you just, show them your phone or your iPad or whatever viewer you have, and you'll see it pictured on the wall in augmented reality.
Joe, that would have, so
That's very cool.
the AR part was actually a bit of a nice to have, but when you think about it, so let's say we tokenize a gallery and the gallery burns down. Let's say there's an accident, gallery burns down. The value of them NFTs, because if we scan them, they're accurate to 0.01 mil, which is really small. And I'm actually going to see Chris this Friday. He's going to scan me. So I will be scanned and then turned into a file to then test in a game. So I'll be an avatar. But we're kind of doing it for fun. But with the scan equipment we have, he can scan the detail of my hair. So that's how fine it goes. And if you think, let's just imagine the XRPL network goes on for centuries, let's say, 5-6 centuries, maybe longer. And some of that artwork that's been tokenized doesn't exist anymore through, degradation or, through accidental loss or been destroyed. The NFTs will be the last sort of piece that exists of a duplicate of what that was. And I don't know what that means. I don't know, does that mean the NFT, it becomes more valuable, or is it, I don't know where that goes in terms of value and tokenization, but where we're going in the future with a lot of stuff going digital, I would imagine it can only be a good thing. And the AR capability to view in AR would be as accurate as that, because it's scanned with our device. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go with this.
Yes, and the other thing is when I was speaking with gallery owners in Paris, a lot of them were very resistant, and they said, well, what would you offer? Especially because they're so gate kept in terms of they have their clientele, they vetted them. What would I bring in terms of, or this type of a tokenization process? What does it offer them? And I said, what if it created a system where in perpetuity, every time a work was sold, the gallery and the artist would receive a royalty. Because right now, like so many artists, especially the way that the markets are manipulated and the way galleries manipulate artist markets, they do things like ask them to suppress their supply or have, this is, kind of behind the scenes stuff, but they'll have specific collectors where they'll negotiate with them to buy out the show. So then it creates a scarcity. It's very similar to, the NFT space, but in a larger sense. And then the artists are stuck there without a revenue stream too in that regard. And also they're shut out of all the secondary market sales and the appreciation that comes from that. So I thought and they said, well, if you could do that, we'll listen to you. And so, because that's one of the things that has never been able to be captured, and tokenization would enable that.
Absolutely. It's a very exciting future we're walking into.
Yes. I know, I'm excited. It kind of came to stand, so I'm not going to lie. Like I started it and I got exhausted with all the traveling. But yeah, I was going to get back into it soon once my other work had died down. But yeah, I love this space, and I love the art world, and it took me some effort and a lot of money to build my network out in the last year, because unfortunately all these events you're invited to are buying events, right? But that being said, yeah, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I would love to just connect with you in some way, maybe. Can I ask you though, why did you choose the XRPL?
It was actually,
Excuse me.
sorry, it's a good question. So years ago, so when I started this as a company for a year, the company was just something on paper, and there was no people, there's nothing. So for like a year, there was just a lot of research and development. I was talking a lot with a guy called David Atkinson, from Holochain, which was an Ethereum fork at the time, and talking about some of the stuff where I think crypto was going wrong. So this was about 2019. And one of the things I see going wrong was that cryptocurrency was only used as a tradable asset nearly everywhere. And even I had wallets with, I think I had about 500 different assets of all different chains, and different wallets at the time. And I was very keen to try and do something where, you can utilize assets beyond simply just trading on a chart, and see if we could actually, I could see the future being a multi-currency future. It was like, well, which network would best support some of the things I would look to do in the future. And Ethereum was the first one I looked at. But at the time, they had some serious scaling issues, and they still do to a degree. And Holochain was a little bit of a remedy of that, but they also have some issues where if they were to go quite big. So them two I'd actually looked at first, and I'd researched a few other chains at the time. Polkadot was one that interested me, by Gavin Wood, and Cardano was a little bit of interest. Trying to think of any of the other big ones, but I'd researched quite a lot. And when I came into looked into the XRPL and looked at the XLS protocols and the way the validators worked, I was like, okay, so this network looks like it has the scalability of where I want to go, but it does lack a layer 2. So the XRPL has a layer 1 and a layer 3, the interoperability part, but it doesn't have a layer 2, which is to be able to write your own smart contracts. So when I looked at where it would go in the future, it seemed quite likely that there would be some elements with smart contract functionality going forward, or if they would allow us to write our own anyway. And I took a little bit of a risk on that, and it was mainly because of the scalability of the XRPL. Bearing in mind, arguably it can take 1,500 transactions per second, arguably. There's a few out there now. I think Corium claims 6,000 transactions per second. Obviously didn't exist back then. So that was a parameter. I was like, okay, well, can that enhance? Can these areas be upgraded? And it all looked like it could. And I quite liked Ripple at the time. I was a fan of Brad Garlinghouse. I was a big fan of David Schwartz, knowing he'd worked on the Bitcoin blockchain sort of 5-6 years prior. So I took a risk. I thought, right, I'll start on the XRPL. I'm not in a rush because I'm actually in dual jobs at the moment. I actually do some stuff with the MOD, the British military. So I was like, I don't need to rush. I can watch the technology mature and almost sort of go in line with it until I'm ready to jump in 100%. And the XRPL ticked more boxes than the other ones, but it did lack some which we required. But when you look at it in detail with some complex coding, you can actually do what we want to achieve. You just can't do it as a protocol. So from there, I was like, right, well, we could do this, we could do that, that will work. We'll have to tailor this. This is where we'll go. And I pulled in a couple of very experienced Solidity developers from Ethereum, told them about what I wanted to do in the future. They were some of the first ones I brought on. I had someone from Microsoft who used to do security at Microsoft in the early days. Her name was Charlie. She's not with me anymore. She left a few years ago. But she come on board and assist with some of the mock-ups we've done, and issued an asset and just started developing, started building. And one thing I realized was everything takes 3 times longer than what you originally plan. So if something's going to take a week, it's probably going to take 3 weeks. If something's going to take a year, it's probably going to take 3 years. And just started developing on there. I started learning to code. So I can code, but I can't code as well as some of the developers I have. The ones I have are absolute magicians. But I can do basic coding, and just went from there. And since then, over the first few years, probably from about 2021 to 23, 24, really thought this is actually probably the network that's going to lead in the future. Even though there was a lawsuit on against the XRP currency, against Ripple and the XRP currency, I thought, well, there has to be a reason why Ripple was targeted and not the other ones. And it's probably, to me, it looked like it was because it was a alternative to the current traditional banking system. So there's a lot of news out now, even now still, that the big banks will be coming over to the XRPL, etc. And they may do with their own assets. That may happen. But the way I looked at it was there was a lot of empowerment and self-custody control on the XRPL. And I thought that's the kind of future I can see where we need to go. So I'm going to support it that way because I think that's the best way to go. So yeah, that was the decision was really down to the protocols on it, and then stuck to it. It was like the minute we decide where we're going, we will stick with that and ride that all the way till we finish, what I aim to achieve. That will be the plan. And if successful with everything online, it should be a very different world by then, if I'm honest with you. I'm an advocate for the technology, but I believe we are going into a multi-currency world. And if you're ever to see any of the stuff we develop, we're very supportive of all assets without even, usually we don't talk to everyone, but we have every asset runs on Fusion. Regardless, they don't need to ask permission. We don't blacklist anyone. Every single asset runs on there. And the minute it's issued on chain, you can use it on Fusion. And that's the kind of world where I see we're going. And that's the kind of world I wanted to build into. It was mainly because of user empowerment. And not all chains sort of had that. But scalability was a big one, because if you want to do something big, you want to make sure you have a large user base involved, because that's kind of how you get sustainability. And not all chains had that, from what I could see. When I went into the details of it, I was like, some of them didn't work. So that would be why. I hope that answers your question. That's probably a long way to go about it.
No. I love all the detail. I love the origin stories and how you kind of built your path to where you are. It's really, really important because it's a problem solving process, right? So I really appreciate listening to your thought process to how you arrived here.
Sorry, go on, Vamsi.
No, I did. I was just more interested about what you're exactly doing in your partnership with Fusion, because I noticed, it seems to be a platform where it's multi-chain. You're not just, is that true? And you can, I don't know all of the capabilities that it
Yeah,
has.
so the back end of it, there is prepared to a basic level of other chains. However, looking at the analytics and now we try and do analytics where we look at organically at real user base and not inflated bot user base. Looking at it from 2022, there was already a start of decline, and it wasn't just on our chain, it was on all chains. So the question was, well, do we add more chains to Fusion? Would that mean that we would have more users? And it was like, well, actually, we just have more users from another chain. It wouldn't actually benefit so much on an XRPL perspective, but it would be in a way beneficial to some others on other chains. So we'll put that on pause and we'll hold that there, because there's a specific development in Fusion. It's called a decentralized validation system. And this one system is why we didn't turn the other chains on, because only XRPL assets function on it. And what that means is when you create a profile on Fusion, there's an option. If someone visits your profile, they can choose to validate you. And when they validate you, it comes up with a series of payment options where they would pay XRP, XDX, or X Squad. But you as a profile owner can pick another asset and the amount. And what that means is, so if I was to validate your profile, I would do a sort of a micro payment to you to say, I know who Vamsi is. I validate this is the correct profile. I'm going to validate. And then you would receive a payment. And then on top of that, you would get a score, which as it increases to a certain amount, you get a blue check mark. And then as it increases further, you get a gold check mark. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Livery, I think you was the first member to get a gold check mark, wasn't you?
Yes, there's no correction needed. Yes,
So
I was the
you
first
actually
gold member.
beat the company that built it to get a gold check mark. You actually was the first. In fact, I think someone else was after you before the company handled.
No, I think there's only 2 gold check marks right now.
Is there? I thought there was 3.
I think there's 2, but yeah, just a slight little correction for Vamsi, or maybe not necessarily a correction. So DPMF is not partnered with Fusion. DPMF owns Fusion.
Yeah, that
DPMF
was my
has,
question. I was like, is this
Oh,
your product? Yeah,
yes,
that was going to be
yes,
my next thing. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
yeah, no
And
problem.
also, why did you choose to create your own token? I mean, that's a huge maintenance responsibility.
actually, yeah,
And
you're absolutely right. In fact, I realised that long before doing it. So there was a couple of, you could almost say like a couple of parameters that I had to think about before doing that. One, if you do this, this means that you are then sort of, you're also, in a way, you're interconnected with everyone that's invested in that asset, because even though they might buy it off someone else, in a way, we are governing where that asset goes. So I had to make a decision, do we start an asset? And one of the reasons I wanted to is because I believe we're going to a multi-currency kind of world. Having a native asset does open more doors. Because if we had not had a native asset, we would not be able to do a governance feature, as an example, on Fusion. It wouldn't be possible. So that was one of the reasons why we issued our own assets. So yeah, going forward, it was like, so I have to understand this. This comes down with complete responsibility. This is a very responsible thing to do. And this is before I even done it. I actually sat down. I have a whiteboard in an office, which is 9 feet long. And I drew out from the left-hand side all the way to the right of exactly how we would do this, what milestones we'd need to hit, how this would work to then have everything that we do. Because there's 3 projects we're actually building, not one. And then with all them sort of finished and tailored out, eventually the asset would run itself without us sort of having to govern it. And that's kind of a lifetime achievement of where we're going. So I need to make sure that whatever we do, the asset will exist beyond all of our lifetimes, in this room. And whether that's as a company, we hand over the pedestal bit by bit as a factor. But another one would be a development factor. How do we ensure that's possible on the development case? And it didn't take one project to do it. I actually looked at it and it was free. There was 3 projects we'd have to do to get that. And that's why we have 3 projects and not one. So yeah, the responsibility of issuing asset is very important. I remember saying this to people in 2021. There was people just issuing assets all over the place. And I'd be like, look, you have to understand that some people will put a lot of money into what you do. And you need to understand that if you just disappear, they're going to lose that value. So it was, we didn't have to do it, but some of the stuff we wanted to do on some of the XD projects, we needed to custody an asset in order for it to work, to have additional stuff anyway. We could have done it without, but we'd have a lot less tailored stuff. So yeah, completely understand. And I think sometimes a lot of people who issue assets do forget that. They massively, massively forget that. I actually in 2021, we airdropped, most of XDX to, it was 83,000 wallets in 36 hours, something like that. I had like a $1.2 million trading volume. We had the largest airdrop by size and scale other than Solargenic, but ours was faster. But the only reason ours was faster is because I was behind a computer with a couple of other developers, switching nodes all the time. In fact, I actually used Solargenic's node as well because theirs is open. I don't know if anyone knows that. I don't think Sologenic know we used it, but we did, because we were just pushing out these assets so much. But yeah, I done a massive airdrop of most of the supply, and that was to show trust, because I didn't come on to create an asset for investment. So we was already funded from the start, and are self-funded up to 2029 at the moment. We've got a margin for up to 2029. So we don't need to sell our assets to continue.
so the token wasn't a money raise tool for you.
It could have been.
Yeah.
So I had a reserve to begin, and I was like, maybe I should make a buffer. So we did sell, I think it was 0.5% of the supply. It was 0. I think it was 0.1% or 1% of the supply. And it was meant to be 5%, and I stopped it, because there were so many people buying it. I was like, right, no, we don't need any more. That's it. So I actually cut it off. So we only achieved 20% and then stopped it. And that was back in 2021. Because we didn't actually need the funding. But from there, to do such a large airdrop was actually down to trust. To say, look, we're not here to, take everyone's money. We're actually here to, build stuff for assets. And being in a network with the XRP currency pretty much has bullish news every other day. A lot more bullish than any other XRPL asset. So when you have your main trading pair as XRP, it can sometimes be a little bit difficult to come across as more attractive, because you, in a way, we have to become more attractive because there are people who are trading our asset, and I'm actually completely fine with that. We don't tell anyone to diamond hand or hold, or when assets are in your pocket, they're in your hands. That's it. If you want to sell your assets, you can sell them. If you want to buy them, you buy them. They're, as far as I'm concerned, them assets are yours, and we have no say what you do with them. And that's kind of how it's been from the start. Kind of how I met most of the panel, actually, with that attitude going forward. Unlike some who have some real community issues where a community member may sell a portion of assets and then fall out with a founder. That's never happened. In fact, one of the panel.
Yes, I mean, most of the discussions, because I'm in the meme and NFT spaces a lot now, and most of the discussion is around managing the liquidity pools and the price. It's like all the effort goes into that, but then it also creates this whole culture of extraction as a result of it. And so if yours is focused on utility and not that, I understand how you're able to preserve it, but at the same time, how do you incentivize users to want to hold and use this token if you're offering other options for your platform to purchase and transact with?
Today, I haven't looked at it the past week. So I've been out the country for a couple of weeks, but from 2 weeks ago, I know nearly every day. So we take in XDX every day, which is paid in through payments on Fusion to use some of the features and functions. So I think we're one of the only XRPL projects which take our asset in daily, I believe. I'm not tracking everyone else, so I don't want to shoot anyone else down. We do have a yield earning mechanism called it. It actually took me 5 years by design to do all parts to it. There's one part we rushed out. When was it live free? Was it February last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
How am I just
right
hearing
before
about
you
you
left.
guys? I'm sorry to interrupt, but how am I just hearing about this?
It was your time. You just weren't ready to hear about this awesome project until today. No, but I'm gonna rein Daniel in just a little bit. So just to explain a little bit. So DPMF does have three main projects, which is Project XD1, which is the FUZION-XIO.com, which is our NFT platform. We have Project XD2, which is pretty much the hyperchain, which is going to include a wallet, self-custody wallet, the green energy nodes, and the actual blockchain itself, hyperchain. And then we have Project XD3, which is the AVA program. All those three are the main bruxes of DPMF at this point. And what Daniel failed to, or forgot to say, because I guess he's saying a lot of information, is the revenue maintaining DPMF actually is coming from the website development, and design, company that he owns, which is called the MetaMart.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's how we're self-revenue.
Yeah, well, I'll tailor it off. So it kind of makes sense. So in 2022, I mentioned earlier, there was a slight decline seen in user base on all networks, not just the XRPL. And looking at where things could go, I worked out there could be some problems if you was to try and be a business on chain, especially with some of the stuff we're doing. So we do quite a lot. So quickly and privately, I created a design company. There was a lot of demand for design in Asia at the time, in China, Singapore, Japan, and the labor was a lot cheaper. And I had some designers for some of the stuff we do who are actually from there, who I'd met at Cambridge University, and some from Oxford. So, excuse me. So I spoke to them about it. I said, look, I think the crypto stuff is good. You know, I can see it being the future, but we need to add a few channels here, because we don't want to be held on our ass, so to speak, if we're relying only on stuff that happens on chain. So started a design company called the MetaMart. It was done in private in 2022. We reached out to some clients who were looking for digital design. In fact, if you used to look in the Jumbotron, some of our designers, they actually designed that character. We worked with some museums in Asia. We got a lot of work. In fact, I think it was September 2023. I remember we had so much work, we didn't have enough designers. And I remember being on, if anyone's on my LinkedIn, you'll see there was a time,
Which museums?
I wouldn't know how to pronounce them because I wasn't in China.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't in China.
Oh,
Do you know
okay.
like the big L-shaped boards? Have you ever seen them before with the 3D stuff? Have you, like a gorilla will come out and that? So we do some of that sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you work at the M Plus Museum?
If you want, I can get you a list. I'll have to speak to May because she manages the big stuff. So we'd have some really big clients. And once, I don't know if I've ever told anyone, I don't think I've told the panel this, but I'll share it with you. So China has its own sort of YouTube channel. I can't say it, as in I don't know how to pronounce it, but like we have YouTube.
Okay.
They have their own YouTube channel, and they wanted 20 Maya developers to do a year's work, and it was like $100,000 or $120,000 a month to do these series of cartoons and 3D animations and that. And we had a rep who was connected with them. And she was like, look, do you want to take on this work? And May was like, yeah, get us in, sign us up. So there was a bit of a competition at the time. And as this competition was going on, we didn't have enough developers and designers to do the workflow they needed. And we was in a competition of doing all these different designs. And we got like to second place, but we couldn't finish the last one because we didn't have enough Maya developers. So we missed out on the contract, and I was absolutely gutted. But yeah, we was like a hair throw away, and there was about 80 companies that went in for that. And I really thought we was going to get it, but yeah, it come to a time we just did not have enough designers. So I said to the team in China, I said, we're never doing that again. We will never ever fall on our ass ever like that again. If we get something like that,
So do you have a team of developers and 3D artists?
There's a team involved in Fusion. Who are purely blockchain orientated. So we don't have much front end involved on that. Most of the designers are involved in the MetaMart. There's a small team involved in XD2. There's a larger team at the moment involved in XD3 for the transition. So we put on this year, and we've got about, I think, if I remember rightly, I have to check this, but I think we've got about 86 designers at the MetaMart at the moment, down in there. We've got
They ask where they're from. Like, is it
so the
Serbia or
office is
India or
the
Brazil?
office is just north of Shanghai.
Okay.
Most of the designers actually do come from China. Most of them actually were students when I first met them. So I met May in 2021, and when I met her, she knew a few other designers, so I got talking to them, and then they were looking for work, but they were going back to China. But then I found out there was a lot of work in China and less in the West. So we took advantage of that. And that's why we was private for a year. We've done it for a year. And then I said, right, let's put out, we have a design service and see where it goes. And in doing that, we actually started getting some very interesting contracts come in. So we do have a contract for, do you know who Reg Park is? Have you ever heard of Reg Park? So he was a famous Hollywood movie star and bodybuilder in the 1960s. His son, Jean Park, was a gold Olympic medalist in the 70s in swimming. And we got the contract to do a 3D anatomically correct design of Reg Park, done that, showed it to John. John invited John Balak, who's Arnold Schwarzenegger's photographer. We had Dr. Jean Carlos, who done a Netflix series on Arnold, and I had this big meeting with them, showed him this 3D design. I had John, he was in tears, he loved it, and Dr. Carlos was slightly upset, but really liked the design. And a few days later, I got a call from Dr. Carlos saying that John had shown the design to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that we would have the contract to do Arnold's design as long as we could launch on Christie's. So that was about 2 years ago. So we've got Reg Park's 3D design. We've got Arnold's, but in the contract for Arnold, we must launch it on either Christie's in New York or Sotheby's. And neither one of them at the moment, I can get them in season. So I'm talking to the bids manager in New York at the moment, waiting for them to give me a timeline of when they want to do it. Obviously understanding.
I've worked with both of them. I've worked with both
I would,
Christie's and
I
Sotheby's
would,
and Phillips and Bonhams.
I was going to say, I would imagine you'd know people there.
Yeah.
So, and given the timeline, speaking to Christie's, obviously NFT art is not as booming as it was 3 years ago, or back in
No, not at
2017.
all.
So,
It's like kind of been a dirty
so,
word the past couple of years.
so we're sitting on the sidelines.
Let's bring it
We're
back.
sitting on the sidelines with these contracts ready to push out. But when that is, I do not know. We did nearly do it a year ago. We was very close. But Christie's, you would have seen, have lent more into property as NFTs now. They've gone down that side and to sort of lean on that a bit more with NFTs to see where that goes. But no, they're fully aware of us, and will be in touch with us when ready to launch. So we're literally sitting there with that. And that was the MetaMart team that done that. There's probably about 20 of us involved. I actually done about 36 hours of editing before the final design, before showing it to John, the Reg Park one.
So can I ask you, in terms of how this translates for opportunities to XRPL artists in the fine art community? Like, what do you offer over their current options with mostly, XRP Cafe as well as Opulence, and I believe there's a couple of others. What are the advantages for using the Fusion platform?
So Fusion has been a massive R&D platform for us going forward. The Fusion is a beta. In fact, it was previously called Radical X, because we was coding stuff which wasn't open source, which takes a lot longer to figure out. So most NFT exchanges generally in some way are the same, but there's few tailored areas on Fusion. If anyone ever explores it, they'll go, okay, this is new. And all currency minting and multi-currency trade, we was the first on the ledger to do it. Which, I know we was the first exchange to sell an NFT in RLUSD when it came out, and that's on Ethereum and the XRPL as well, which was really cool. But a lot of the stuff we have on there is tailored, where we're exploring using assets in different ways. The decentralized validation feature I was talking about earlier is one reason. And I put a fee. So there's always been on Fusion, there's always a pay to join if you wanted to pay to create a profile. So you could go on Fusion, you could actually use the features and functions on there, but you couldn't create a profile. You'd have to pay for it. And that was actually because of the decentralized validation feature. And after analyzing that over the past year, I'm comfortable enough that we're going to turn that off and then make Fusion completely free, which is very interesting, because when you have a profile on there, although you can join for free, people can validate you and you can earn from that. So that.
Oh, yeah, that's what I saw in all of the posts, that it was 0 fees. So you make fees on the transactions, I'm
No, we
assuming.
don't have, there isn't a broker fee on Fusion. I think we're the only NFT exchange on the ledger at the moment with a 0% fee.
And how can you
There
run
isn't.
it?
It's a good question. Yeah. So how do we make revenue from it? And in truth, when you create a NFT on there is you make a payment, which is actually an IPFS payment. We only need to cover IPFS and servers. Other than that, the development costs, the code is ours, and that's all it is. Once we're done with the development, the outgoing on Fusion is very minimal. And we've probably got about just short of 2 years before we finish. So there's features coming on there which are additional revenue streams, which no one would have ever seen before. So they're not on. So there is ways of revenue on there. Don't get me wrong, but we're a 0% fee for trade, and we will be a 0% fee for profiles as well. Which is
And do you have a feature where you can swap NFTs, correct?
swap directly. No, but there is a guy in the panel who's built that.
Okay.
Mike.
Okay. Because that would
Hello.
be a
Mike.
cool new feature.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, we were yapping away, and I guess
No,
you were
Navamsi,
the
I must admit,
toughest.
I love your energy. I
Uh,
love that, like, it's just such a beautiful, positive conversation, this. And I've loved hearing, you and Dan speaking. It's just like, and to be honest, just, hearing, somebody else talk about DPMF and realize what they're building and what's there, to be honest,
yeah. Yeah, no,
because
I'm
it's
really
very feature
excited.
rich.
I am really excited because true fact is currently with all of the features on the XRPL and what is possible, there's very little true building that's creating revenue and volume happening. The only three, and this was also validated by VET, is XRP Cafe, First Ledger, and Zaman. So beyond that, we really need a lot of innovative building happening. And I think the culture, and I'm sure Sun and Spec will agree with me, the culture and the volume is through NFTs. And it's really important that someone leverage and I don't know, expand it to the extent that it can be. And I love that the fine art community is moving on to here because that's a super, super great step forward.
I
This is a
think. Sorry, go on, Dan.
this is a really good time to develop on, actually, because it means that while things are quiet, it's and when I say quiet, I mean it's probably one of the quietest periods I know on chain. But while they're quiet, it doesn't mean we can just carry on developing and carry on building, because there will be a period where there'll be a flurry of people. And I said it earlier, but I don't know what the reason will be. It could be anything, but there will be a flurry of people that will come onto networks again. There will be, and when that happens, the ones who have been developing in this period will obviously stand out a bit because there's already stuff online that they've done over time. So generally that would be more attractive. Why there's not more people developing, you could say specifically on the XRPL, I'm not 100% sure, but I would probably say it mainly comes down to sort of the economics of the world. The world's not in a good place right now. I know there are developers who are struggling for work. There's not developers who really want to build something for themselves. And actually, while on it, you get a good pairing. So one thing I've noticed when I've working with developers, sometimes you need an entrepreneur who's a thinker. And then sometimes you need a developer who doesn't think outside the box, but is able.
And who also has the financial runway to
Yeah,
absorb the cost over a period of time and not have to extract to sustain itself. It's really, really critical. And I also think the most beautiful building happens in the bear periods, even with artists. Like when I've seen the art markets go crazy, I was there during that time, like 2005 to 2008, and people were just pumping out garbage because they were getting paid so much. So they were trying to produce as fast as possible, all these artists across like Asia and India and all. And during the bear period is when they produce the most beautiful work. So I think this is a nice time. And it also, I think, will really focus on the people who are genuinely here with the talent and resources to do the right thing.
absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think it's just, it is that time period where it's just people now focusing on, building out, what they want to achieve, for later. I really do believe that blockchain is the way forward for the future. I really do believe that. And, look at it, look at us now in this room. There's like, eight of us now in this room. Maybe there's 12 of us here earlier. Really small audience. And most.
But I was going to say, it's like most of the time we usually get people, because of the time that we run our spaces, we usually get people coming in and listen to them afterwards the next day or two. So, This may not necessarily be very active
That
right
is
now,
true.
but we always get a lot of people coming in and listen to
We've
Spaces
done one show
afterwards.
where it's just us, and then like in 24 hours, there's like 3,000 views or 3,000
Yeah.
people.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I do get people who message me saying they listen in the car who are in the UK in the morning. I know Rob. Rob, shout out to you, Rob, because I know you told me the other day. He listens to us in the morning, the following morning when he's driving to work. So we do get a lot of recordings, and Raylene
This
who
would this
as well.
Rayleen's a little bit. She can come back in. She posted. This
I
would be a
feel
good
like
time. This would be a good time to remind everybody. Thank you for being with us and as with at DPMF Live and listening to our DPMF updates. This space is being recorded. And please follow all of us and please share the space.
Hang on,
Uh,
hang on. I didn't do any of the update I had planned.
no, I
I was
am
just
just
thinking
about to
that.
I am just
Like,
about to introduce, I
like,
am just about to open it up for you to talk about the AVA updates right now. So go for it. Talk about the AVA program.
okay. So I'll say this chronologically so it kind of makes sense. Let's say, so 2025 was a big year of R&D, mainly related to 3D files as NFTs, which do relate to the AVA program, and our signature collection, the Megabits. But specifically, it was more tailored with interoperability, beyond just our own AVA program. So for those who were with us in 2022, when we started releasing the characters, we was releasing videos of characters which were NFTs, which would mean they would only be tailored to our own products when we go live to our own platform. Now I realized this after I can't remember which character was released, but I halted and said, no, stop. We're not releasing any more characters, because when we do the game, these characters are only going to be tied to our game. With the way the network is and the way the IPFS works and the way this works, we can actually provide interoperability, but we're going to have to build it. Now, I know there was a lot of people who were upset about that at the time. This was about 2.5 years ago, and I actually said, we're halting releasing any characters, we're halting the game, we need some protocol on the XRP ledger. And it was actually in June last year, the XLS protocol for dynamic NFTs went live. Now, I was actually in Africa at the time, so when that went live, that meant that NFTs could have the file or the metadata adjusted inside. Very, very good for gaming. It was the one protocol I've been waiting to come on, which is why I halted the whole thing. So, XD3 had to be put on hold. I know Snowflyer was here earlier. He was he was someone who was upset by it. Anyway, so I halted that, and that was quite a painful decision, but it was the right one in terms of long term. But it was a short term pain with a long term gain. So what that means now is, while we was doing the developments last year, we nailed down 3D files minting as NFTs using FBX and GBL file. We also added a protocol. We also added a identifier in Fusion, which we call the metaverse config. What that identifier is means that when an NFT is pulled into another 3D ecosystem, that 3D ecosystem, tailored with a little bit of coding, which we have, means that you will be able to move around with that NFT, be it an avatar or a kind of vehicle and stuff like that. At the end of 2024, I reached out to Versex and I reached out to Expector to partner to see if they were interested in being involved in research and development. Now, Dirk, we had a very long conversation at the back end of 2024. I told him what I was going to be doing through 2025. And unfortunately, through that year, so it's been a year long now, all the stuff that I told him I was going to do, I achieved. All the stuff that I asked him to look at, he hadn't even started. And I'd spoke to him recently, so I was a little bit upset and said to him, we had a conversation about this. I've told you the updates as I've been building this, because I wanted to pull NFTs into his ecosystem to assist in improving user base and interest and utilizing NFTs. But unfortunately, that didn't go ahead. So I'll be closing that partnership from here, and we won't be doing the R&D on Expector anymore. And I've said to him, that's it now. And I didn't really get much feedback on that when I told our community. It was kind of quiet, but we won't be focusing on pulling NFTs into that 3D ecosystem anymore. That's it. And we actually have the code, and I did offer to do it for him, and I offered to do it for free as well. And I offered him developers to do it. But for whatever reason through the year, nothing sort of materialized on that side. So I won't be putting energy into that anymore. That's that. But because of the R&D we do have, we're able to do parts of that ourselves. Now, we're not going to, the term metaverse is, obviously, portrayed as,
It's cooked.
well, yeah, I did see the thing about Facebook. But
Yeah, no, but just generally, it's one of those things where there was a lot of money being put into it by VCs, and because the VCs got so burnt with all of the projects, they lost quite a lot, and so the bloom fell off the rose, in that category. They basically decided, just as Meta did, that they were a little too early.
yeah, I would say that. I think. So I want to be careful what I say here, because I'm not like against Dirk and Expectra and that. I don't want to come across where I'm like against them, because I'm actually not. I actually want them to do really well with what they're doing in the future. But with the direction they're going as well is not the direction of empowerment and the kind of interoperability that I wanted to go down. So yeah.
Well, Bob Way did offer an option to build alongside and have it be open source. That was his vision when he was pulled on board. But they didn't go in that direction. This way, it would be able to be self-sustaining even if the platform failed or couldn't continue, being run with a foundation underneath it. And then builders could continue to build, and it would be self-sustaining. But that's a very, long-term vision, and means that Dirk would have to surrender a little bit of control. But anyway, let's not get into that discussion right now, especially in quarter space. But I think you have an opportunity, I guess, to build for yourself as well if you wanted to, a metaverse portion.
So I don't want to use that terms. I don't want to take thunder away from what someone else is doing.
Okay, so virtual world.
It would be easier if I explain it this way. So the AVA program, by what we have coming is a game. Okay, it's a game. It's a play to earn game. You train a character, you increase the value of your NFT, which you can then trade. You could probably turn it into a business in the future where you could train characters and then sell them to the public for people who don't have time to train them. But then you can compete with each other to earn. So that is essentially the AVA program. Now, a few years ago, I think it might have been about a year and a half ago. When was it Live Free? Because was about a year and a half ago, I think, because you was in that conversation about expanding it.
Yeah, you wanted to call it the Ava Star?
That's right. Yeah, I was just seeing if you remembered the name. So
yeah, Ava Star. Mm-hmm.
But the characteristics you're speaking about, that it's a dynamic NFT and it can also translate into different environments, correct? It's not only created to function in one environment.
Correct. So
that is very unique.
That's not actually the dynamic part. If I'm honest with you, you can actually do that with any NFT without it being dynamic. The dynamic part allows the metadata to be adjusted, or the file to be adjusted. So you can change the appearance of a character. You can upgrade health, attack, defense, if it's a gaming style NFT. But without it being dynamic, it is actually interoperable. Interoperability is one area where I'm going, and the AVA characters have identifiers in them with the meta config I was talking about earlier. So when we do our game, as people pull in characters that they own, they won't just be able to use them in our game. We'll then tailor them into other 3D ecosystems as well. Now, that would mean that they might not upgrade if they're played with. It means you'd be running around with the character because you own it. But it does mean...
But the other ecosystems would have to accept them.
Yeah. And that was the problem I had with working with Expector, because we just needed access. There was a period about 6 months ago they were going to upgrade or do an update where you could manually code in an ecosystem that you would own, something like that. I was like, okay, that's exactly what we need, because we could code it. He would be able to see the code and adjust it to everyone else's, to kind of spread it. But that never materialized. It didn't happen. So we will be tailoring it to other 3D ecosystems. But the thing is, there isn't actually many of them on the XRPL at the moment. And in fact, if you look at some of the ones on other chains as well, they're kind of in the same kind of problem. So I think one of the big things that's gone wrong is we built a 3D ecosystem in Spatial. We actually built an art gallery, built it for fun. You can run around and look at art, and it links to Fusion. And NSCV, hats off to him, because there's a guy in DPMF Labs actually accidentally deleted everything in there. And NSCV, when I was in Africa, he put everything up and all the links and that, I'd take my hat off to him. He done bloody well. He kind of rebuilt the gallery while I was away. So it was nice to come back and have that. But one thing I noticed when you're running around in a 3D ecosystem is you almost need a reason to be there. And so this was us learning about it with our own, in Spatial. It'd be like, we would, invite people in to do conversations and do speeches and talk about their project, et cetera, et cetera. And, and people would come. But it wasn't the driving factor. You need a driving factor for that. And it really comes down to gaming, going into play to earn, or, play to be stronger. So that's the main factor with the AVA program. And additionally, we'll be expanding that, where we will allow other 3D file NFTs to be pulled into the AVA game, along with already existing NFTs as well. So we apply that interoperability with our platform first, tease it around a bit, and then as other 3D ecosystems start coming up, we'll be able to tailor code with them to then pull in as well. So they'll be able to pull in NFTs. And to be honest, some XRPL projects, with good developers will be able to do that anyway. It won't be an issue.
Actually, this is maybe another opportunity for collab, because I'm the financial backing for another NFT game called NFT Fighters, and there might be some opportunity to bring those characters into that gaming system, because that's all about play to earn.
Is that a XRPL project? Is it? I've never heard of it before.
Actually, it's you mint on ETH, but they're going to create it. So you would need a gaming license to earn standardly, but if it's considered if it's considered kind of like a one-on-one combat type of a thing, where the winner is gets the pool, then it's different. You're not betting on the actual game, which doesn't require a game license. So that's the way that they engineered it. And then they were going to be able to have payouts through different currencies, whether it's ETH or XRP or whatever it means. But you'd both to have your player in the game, you would then put up a pool, and then the winner gets the pool, basically.
Is this active right now, or is it still in development?
It's right at the beta stage. Yeah, it should have been done, to be quite honest with you, but I have to have a meeting with the dev and the marketing team. But yeah, it was supposed to be launched by December.
Well, as they say, they say it takes 1 week, but technically it takes 3 weeks. And Daniel has reminded us that a lot of times already. Developing time is always a little extra than what we think it is.
We get, Red Tiger's one for it. He doesn't do it so much now, I guess, but yeah, it's very hard to give a time, especially with some of the stuff we was doing with Fusion, because some stuff, I remember once we had hundreds of bugs on one thing, and so it was ready, but it wasn't public ready. It'd be when do we go live with this part? And I'd be I don't have a time frame for when, we can fix all this, because no one's ever done it before. We don't have a manual that we can follow, because a lot of stuff is it's open source.
Creating it from scratch.
Yeah. A lot of stuff is open source. I can tell you how open source a lot of stuff is. There's a company in London, I can't say who they are. They have an AI engine. And this AI engine can basically duplicate websites and platforms. And I actually went on and duplicated a XRPL project in 20 minutes. done it,
No
because
way.
all the stuff they have on there is
That's
open
crazy.
source. Fortunately,
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
because there is especially a few years ago, there was a big push. We should open source everything. We should open source everything. The problem is when
Yeah.
you open source everything, it means that you allow the capability of everyone else to do the same. So
Yeah.
it's not really a business advantage, especially in development. So we don't open source stuff on Fusion unless it's there's a business case for it to be open source. And with this AI engine, I tried to duplicate Fusion, and I couldn't. It couldn't even it couldn't do anything. It just couldn't. It couldn't work out anything. And I was like, okay, that's a good sign for the future. But it doesn't. But AI is a powerful tool. In a few years, I'm sure that they'll be duplicating things all over the place. But yeah,
Okay.
which is kind of scary. All the hard work people
Yeah.
be putting into, and then an AI will do it in like half an hour. It
Yeah. It's insane.
it can be
Insane.
concerning, but it has to be. At the moment, it has to be open source. So yeah, I'm on side with people that open source stuff. Very on side of it. So that's up to you. But some stuff you have to be very careful if you open source it. And yeah, fortunately, with what we have so far, it can't be duplicated.
That's really good. It's nice to have something proprietary and difficult because you need a moat, as they say. So the Fusion, going back to Fusion, that's in its beta stage, and you're going to
That's
be
correct. Yeah. So
like,
there's a version 2. So everything, all the features on there, were deliberately launched, to the public because we didn't know if they bloody work, on a global scale.
Mhm.
If I'm honest with you, I remember even when we launched all currency trading, we was encountering bugs that we did not know how to fix. And I remember this. And so while everyone else, at the time were building all these big platforms and making a name, we were stuck bug fixing something which, to us in the future would be very important. But at the time, was incredibly difficult to figure out. And the biggest one, because it's been I used decentralized validation as I talked about earlier. But with that one, I did not analyze everything since it's been on. I hadn't analyzed everything up until the end of last year, to then make Fusion free. But I'm content that we can do it now, and it can do it quite safely with that feature running. But we may encounter stuff in the future or another type of bug, probably more tailored with us, less the ledger. But all currency trading and minting, we did encounter some bugs where we don't have a guidebook. And I remember talking to Wheats at Zarman, and I was like, mate, we've got a problem here with doing this, and the other. And he'd be like, we do not work on XLS 20, mate. You guys probably know more than us. And I was like, that's great. That means, no one knows how to help us with this. Yeah, and sometimes it takes months to figure out, but we get there in the end. But it does mean that we are a little bit, in a way, slower, but in a way more advanced. So Fusion is not like, you'd only have to look at the homepage, and it's very different to any other NFT exchange. And that's because we haven't implemented all the stuff we need to then have to have the homepage, which we are desiring, because we still got a couple of bits to build out, which is a version 2. So yeah, Fusion is just a massive beta. It was,
Can I ask you
yeah,
something
far
in
away.
terms of possibility? So the only reason that I wanted to back that project was because I wanted more attention to be brought to NFT projects, and because it was going to be a multi-chain with characters, like where an NFT community would pick 2 characters from their community to enter them as fighters into the game. Then it would be like an ETH project battling an XRP project and so on and so forth. And so it'd bring a lot more attention to the XRPL. Do you have the capability to, say, take characters from an NFT community, in the on the XRPL and transform them into fighters, or like be able to mint out like all of that on, maybe
So
with your platform?
each chain is tailored slightly differently. They're not all one of the same.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, so when we go into sort of the multi-chain direction, So if you could proper cross-chain stuff, that would mean a blockchain could be hackable. So it's quite good that we can't cross-deck NFTs between chains. The only way to do it is to burn one on one chain or custody it and then reissue on another. That's the only way you can cross-chain NFTs, but the time is obviously doesn't match, and there's certain data that doesn't match, like you'd have different issuers, and then them two issuers have to match the same thing. So cross-chain functionality can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but when it comes to gaming, what you can have is you can have your gaming platform as the bridge. So there is a way to have different gaming characters from different chains compete with each other. There's a way to do it. But transactionally, it's a pain in the arse. You have to have the gaming platform almost as a centralized exchange in order for that to operate. There'd have to be reserves and all sorts. So it gets very complex. It's actually easier to focus on one chain and get everyone to come to that chain instead. And that was kind of where we was going with the XRPL, with some developments we had. We'll just we'll build that one, build this bit out, build that bit out. Because right now, so the AVA program, the AVA characters, there's the RDX AVA, which came out last month. We can't mint that on any other NFT exchange on the XRPL. It can't be done. It's not possible. Fusion's the only one that can do it. And that's one of the reasons why Fusion exists. It actually exists not to have an NFT exchange to compete with other NFT exchanges. It actually acts as a supporting arm because we need to build an NFT exchange to build another project. That's exact that.
Oh, so this is for minting out the characters for the game that you're
Yeah.
building,
So
for the game environment?
yeah. So we
Okay.
can't. It's one reason. Yeah, it's one reason. So the 3D avatar.
And when you say it can't be minted, it just means that the other platforms don't have the technical capability
That's correct. Yeah.
to mint something as complex. And that's why Fusion was created, to be able to mint this complex type of NFT.
That's correct. Yeah. I know a few years ago we pushed through the IPFS like over 1 terabyte of data, which it was kind of a secret record, I think, at the time. But, so if we wanted to do XD3, we couldn't do it on the XRPL. We can't do it. We have to have Fusion. And that's one of the reasons why it exists. So, and the 2025, we did tailor it, to build out, to carry on with what we was doing with XD3. That's why Fusion's there. But then obviously over time, it would then fold out to be a more, attractive NFT exchange, if you like, but we don't need that right now. And that, in that quiet period, we don't need to try and be better than every other NFT exchange. Now we actually need to develop, we need to build. And so, yeah, Fusion actually exists because of this gaming. And that was the plan from years ago. I wasn't sure. So when I was planning it out, I wasn't sure if NFT exchanges would accompany the technical capability I'd require. And I'm not a big fan of a big fan of NFTs per se. I traded NFTs on Ethereum years ago. When it was very liquid, you know what I'm talking about. But, if we didn't build Fusion, we would not be as far with XD3. With the AVA program, we wouldn't be able to get anything out. And to release, I don't know if you've seen the RDX AVA, you only have to look at the character in 3D in detail, and it's like there's never been an NFT like this on any chain in this detail, because you own the 3D character. This isn't a picture of the character. The file is the NFT. The 3D avatar is the NFT, and we could that's what.
And it is completely rigged.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's a beautiful image you have with just the little girl and the robot.
That's Mei Mei's design. That is. So there's a lot of artwork with that little girl, and that's the XDX AVA specifically. So in Shanghai a few years ago, we actually ran a small gallery with these pictures physical pictures.
Is she an anime artist?
Yeah.
Yes, I was actually being connected to an anime artist even because I had an idea for an NFT collection for myself to be able to create fighters, and so they're brilliant.
Yeah, the artwork. So there's a lot of artwork like that. And some we've put public, some of it's in, correct me if I'm wrong, Liffrey, it's still in spatial, isn't it? In the Zion gallery. There's still some in the...
Yeah, there should be. I know we were having problems. I know, Spatial was having problems with keeping up. And I know a lot of people had problems even logging into Spatial, because of the amount of, the amount of data that was in the gallery.
Yeah, we hit the limit with the data when we built that gallery. In fact, at a time it was the largest space and the most detailed. And Victor, who works at Spatial, I was talking to him a while back about connecting the XRPL to Spatial. Like, it'd be massive, but he's not replying to my messages at the moment. I messaged him about a week ago, and he hasn't got back to me yet, but that would be a platform that would be good to connect to. But yeah, they've had issues. They've had big issues, actually. Their whole community's kicking off because people who pay for upgraded servers, because we pay for upgraded servers, they weren't working. So it was like, well, what are we paying for here? And they might have to do a big refund to everyone. I don't know, but yeah, they've had problems with servers massively. So I'll wait to hear from them and see if we can do anything there.
So Daniel, where are we on the actual program, the platform itself for AVA?
So for the AVA program, we'll have the XDX AVA. I'm just doing some small details too, and it's important we have the RDX and XDX1 out because I'm using the real-time NFTs in the beta game. So we've got the front end covered, connected with back end. We've got environment. You would have seen some videos of a ship flying around, etc. So you'll be running around inside a ship. We're looking to put the beta on no less than 4 weeks. What's the date today? Is it the 1st or 2nd? No less than 4 weeks today, roughly. So in at least 4 weeks, we will put a beta out for.
And this beta is going to be in what formats?
So mobile and desktop. We've been very careful with this because I want to put it on the Apple Store as an app. But you know what Apple are like, they're absolute bloody bastards. I'll have to get Raylene to blur that out on YouTube. They're hard work sometimes. We've been working with the Apple developers, the development program with the AR stuff over the past year, and they're very slow. But the aim is to have it on the App Store, to have it as an app. How that's going to work, I'm not sure, because we've got a lot of blockchain interaction on there. But yeah, so we've got a 4-week target. So that is an actual set date where we aim to have a beta for the public. In there, you'll be able to create your own avatar. So let me elaborate a little bit. So the AVA program is a culmination of there's a storyline behind it. So there's a story written. Some of the story is given away in the NFT details. So if you ever read any of the character NFT
And again,
details,
it's a play to earn platform.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
So it's a 3D immersive game. You'll be able to run around as a character. You'll be able to create your own avatar as well. And this was a fundamental part of this because we wanted to ensure that we didn't just have people who are on the XRP ledger. We wanted to be able to bring people who were interested in gaming, who perhaps weren't involved in blockchain. So you don't have to be on the XRP ledger to play this beta, which massively opens up our audience, but it also gives us an opportunity to invite people to be involved in blockchain. And
can you play it on a Web 2 platform?
It is a Web3 platform because it has, because you could say it's a hybrid of the two. But the only time value is transitioned is when you're in the Web3 kind of part. So when you create an avatar, you can mint that avatar if you have a wallet address. If you don't have a wallet address, then you wouldn't mint that avatar. You could train it and then fight with it, but you wouldn't be able to earn rewards or earn any value because it's not on chain. But if you optionally decide to go on chain, so you could mint a character at any stage, So if you create an avatar, you could mint that character at any stage, and it would be a NFT under our issuer. So it would qualify to run on that game. And then that avatar would be fully tradable, on Fusion. So it means that anyone can play it now. We're not just tied to XRPL, user base. We're tied to anyone who likes to play gaming. And I'm hoping that the attraction will be, so if someone plays with a character and they train it, they go, I should just tokenize this character because then I can sell him, or, then he's on chain.
So is the dynamic nature of it also that you can upgrade it?
That's correct, yeah. That's correct.
That's
So
nice.
you'll be able to train your character in game, which will upgrade the metadata, so health, attack, defense, etc. But we're adding a part on Fusion for dynamic NFTs, so issuers can adjust metadata as well. So if we wanted to, we could adjust characters' metadata on Fusion. We wouldn't really need to do it, but it's there if we need to. But more a use case for other game development projects coming in the XRPL who are maybe starting out. They might want that feature. So that's something that's being added as well. So yeah, it will be a beta game. We'll open it up to all, to run around and play, see how we get on. We'll identify any bugs. We'll put a time frame on it. I've got maybe a month, so it'll be like a 4-week period. Then we'll go away, analyze, reconfigure, adjust, and then we'll add more parts to it. We might do a second beta with the additional parts, or we might just go straight live. On the beta though, I am considering doing transactionally live on Ledger. So that would mean if you have a character, it will upgrade on chain on the beta, and then you will still be able to use it again on the main game later. We've also got to look at how quick people can upgrade their characters, because people will be able to pay to upgrade their character if they want. Do we really want that? There's a few areas where we've got to have a bit of public interaction to say this was good, this was bad, and work out from there. So yeah, that's what we have coming.
What would be cool for fine artists, since you have this feature for metadata, if you could offer something for fine artists where they initially created a work, but if they wanted to expand it into a diptych or a triptych, where it was a piece together and expand their original artwork, that would be pretty cool for the original collector.
So the game will start, you will have your own ship. So you will be in a massive ship. We actually had to make it bigger, to run around in. The first one was quite small. We've actually made it a lot larger. In there, you will be able to put up NFT artwork that you own in your own ship. So you'll be able to go around and place it, put it up. So you have that interoperability of owning an NFT. And then later, as the game expands over the years, if you invite friends into your ship, they'll see what you own. So everyone will start with their own ship. The long-term plan is, so we've got about 3-4 areas, 3 corridors we're focusing on a business perspective, because later, when we were talking about AVA Star earlier, that wasn't actually planned. It's not actually budgeted either, may I add. But if we get enough on the first part of the release where, in a sort of revenue generating gameplay, if it's sufficient enough with people from the real world and the XRPL coming in and playing, we will be able to expand it, and we'll expand it so much so where the ship later, you will be able to maneuver into different locations, into almost like a massive multiplayer online game. Now,
so what that means is you're actually
in,
creating your metaverse. That's what that means.
It's a game. I don't want to call it a metaverse because it is a game. It's not.
Yeah, let's remove that word from our
the
vocabulary.
DPMF verse. You're creating the DPMF verse.
Let me tie some strings together here. So this is clear. That is not an easy thing to do. It's actually very complex. Now, one of the main factors for all this is that the game will be able to be played on mobile. It has to be. So we've gone through, last year, we went through a lot of data reduction of 3D files to compress everything so we could have a smooth user experience. We've done a lot. For example, the RDX AVA, which was hundreds of megabits of detail, we've reduced down to 35 megabits, which is nearly impossible to maintain that quality, but we done it. And it took a lot of skill to get there. So there's a lot of that involved in this game. Now, to go into the massive multiplayer side, we're going to need, and I've spoke to Live Free about this, and I know some of the panel are aware, we're going to need a certain amount of servers, which we would need to have as a company. So at the moment, we have partners who do servers for certain things here in the UK. We have technicians 24/7 on stuff. I'm going to look at starting a branch as a server company. So we will have our own server company to the side, which relates a bit to XD2 and green energy nodes. So we'll tailor them together. So we do more network support, have our own servers, which are planned to offer out at low cost. And I actually aim to do that within no less than a year's time. It's from November onwards of this year. So it'll be some point from November onwards, which times in quite nicely with where we're going with the AVA program. And then, leading on to XD2, the final one. So that's where I'm going. So that's the plan. So we can launch this whole game and it be as it is now, and have that play to earn and fighting each other. And that alone will be fun. And I think it will do quite well. But then later we'll go, right, we're going to expand on this, and we're going to need some, we're basically just I'm going to start a server company, to put simply, with our own servers, so we can service it going forward, because it's going to be on a larger scale. And yeah, it just fits in nicely. But so that wasn't planned from a year ago. It's only recently come out, the past couple of months. So that's the kind of plan. So we'll see where we sit. So yeah, beta in 4 weeks. There is still some AVA characters. I think there's about 3 AVA characters which were released. We haven't released in 3D yet. So for anyone listening to the recording, do not worry. They will come out. And if you own one of the video footage characters of any one of them, you qualify to own the full 3D AVA NFT for free. You will be given it. So you will have the actual interoperable AVA character. So yeah, that's where we're going. And I think it is timed quite nicely, with what we're doing. So I think gaming is the next phase with NFTs. Concurrently, we will still be building out Fusion, for the XD1 project. There's a few tailored parts coming, which are not normal for an NFT exchange, not been seen before, but they are worth getting involved in because you will earn value from them. They are incentivizing. And I think that's another key factor, for a platform as well. And some of them are revenue generating for ourselves as well.
So the space that you're going to be holding, I believe, on February 4th, specifically regarding Fusion, I guess you're going to break down everything in that space.
I'm sorry, what space?
Oh, I don't do the diary. I get ambushed with these, Vamsy.
Yeah, it was been posted that February 4th there's a space for Fusion.
Oh,
Who's responsible for that?
It wasn't me.
Oh, right.
You guys, you like
Daniel, are you cheating on me, Daniel? What the hell?
Right, I didn't know. All right, I guess so. Yeah, that's probably what it is for. Yeah.
Okay.
Do I need to talk to Bob about this? I mean,
I don't know if Bob's done it.
You better have the space. I already shared it. With people. I'm going to repost now to make you committed to having that space.
No, I'll likely be there, but this is the first I've heard of it. So thanks for letting me know.
Could you post it in our
the purple
messages in our messages, because
tag us in.
I don't remember. Tag us, because we're new to this.
Oh, in fact, Live Free, while on topic, there's a project who want the DPMF panel to come on and do a joint space, by the way. Loves what we do, loves the energy and the comedy. Does it happen to be
February the 4th?
No, it's not. No, it's I can't remember the name, but I seen a message. It's in the inbox. If you want to have a look at the company inbox, I think it's in there. But yeah, I haven't got a date yet. I just said, just let me know when when you want to do it, we'll come along. I think I said Friday to Sunday's best because Palace is obviously a paramedic, isn't he? So he can't do Monday to Thursday.
Well, people get sick, 7 days a week, so we'll see what happens.
That's true. That is very true.
Hey, let's talk about the Megabits program now.
Yeah, sure. So the Megabits was our own signature NFT program. When XLS 20 went live a few years ago, everyone was doing NFT. In fact, they was doing it on XLS 14, the depreciated version, some on XLS 19, XLS 20 being the gold standard. I didn't want to launch a NFT campaign at that time of images as an NFT collection, as a kind of, just to say we're in the space, these are NFTs. I wanted to make sure we had something more advanced. And about a year ago, we obviously started DPMF Labs, which has, I think it's about 20 people in now. Is that right, Mike? Live free, roughly, different departments. And
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
it's a
Yeah.
culmination. Of,
So I posted the link in the purple pill. You guys didn't come up with this? I mean,
we've
it's
probably got a message about it while we've been on this show, because we're normally done an hour ago.
yeah, I posted it thing. So this is your space, correct?
What, the Fusion one?
Yeah, it's
You know what? That's that. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Did we get invited to that? Have we been invited?
It's the crypto trading hub.
And it has Fuzion-XIO in it. I thought.
I don't know who posted that.
Well,
Daniel.
Well, I've probably got a message about it, but I haven't been on because we've been on the show.
You guys are funny.
This is how disorganized we are. This is us running things.
It's organized. It's very organized. It seems like it's not at this current moment in time, but it's very organized.
We got a lot going on.
Yeah.
We got a lot going on.
I see that because it's like with 3 projects at one time, it seems like everything kind of launching simultaneously. Like, yeah, it's a lot. I get it.
I think this is where DPMF excels because we don't panic. We keep calm.
Yeah, I see.
We carry on in the UK, keep calm and carry on. So if there's a space that is we're supposed to be at, we'll be at that space.
Oh, is it on?
Well,
is it on right now?
If that fails,
is there a space?
Keep on, drink on.
Is it on right now?
No, it's February 4th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Vamsy, you're giving us a heart attack.
No, it's February 4th. I mentioned that in the beginning.
Wes, do you know anything about this? Did you post it? Wes, are you doing
this? No, this is definitely not me. I haven't dropped the foo bar here.
All right. February 4th, what are we on? So that's on, is that Tuesday?
That's a Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay. I could make it. What time is it?
Yeah, make it a banger space, guys.
Did Palace do it? Has Palace?
Oh my gosh!
Did he book it?
All right, you know what, Daniel? Let's carry on with the Megabits and then we'll figure this one out later.
Yeah, I'll crush this out. So yeah, the Megabits is our own signature collection. I wanted to make sure if we'd done an NFT collection, it had some innovation involved in it. And it took us years to get to the point of 3D files. I'm not joking. It took us years to get there. And when we got to that point, DPMF Labs was just starting out, and it was like, now we would do an NFT collection because it represents what we've done so far. So the Megabits, they all start as statues, statue characters, and they can evolve, mutate, which comes out later, for a bit of fun. And there is metadata in there. The AVA program and the Megabits are very, very similar. Very, very similar, but the Megabits is more blockchain orientated and the AVA program is more video game kind of orientated, if you like. So when you see something come out about the Megabits, like a development innovation related or something like that, it's actually related to the AVA program as well. So we're actually upgrading two NFT programs. They go in sync that way. But the minute we done the collection, it was kind of a fun. This is what we've achieved. This is what we're building all these different characters. We're going to put them in a game. We've got quite an intelligent community. And the first thing they was like, how are we going to use these? And initially it was going to be separate, but because we're so far with the AVA program, it would be silly not to interconnect them within the AVA program. So the megabits will have a place in the AVA program. At the moment, they are statues, so they're collectible statues. You will be able to evolve them into fully movable avatars. So you'll see the avatars generally have 2 or 4 legs. So when they upgrade, they will have, they'll be rigged to move around. But when you upgrade them, you don't have the statue anymore. So the idea is that you have the statues as collectibles. And then when I want to upgrade them to use them in another ecosystem, you wouldn't have them as a statue anymore. It wouldn't be a collectible anymore. It would be a live character. And then following the same plater, the same P2P stuff, player versus player. Same concept as the AVA program, but tailored slightly differently. A bit more custom to sort of a new generation coming, if you like. But they're going in the AVA program. Are we still on, or did we rug?
Yeah, no. We're still on. We're still on. So you kind of mentioned a little bit in the chat, in the Telegram chat.
You guys should be on Stone Space. Have you ever been on Stone Space with Coffee and Crypto in the Morning?
Oh yeah, we know Stone. We haven't been on his space for a while, actually.
Well, you should go on his space, and you should also go on the Web3, / space. I don't know, all these spaces that give you a platform. Correct, Spec? Like the Web3 / place, or I'm not sure. They give an opportunity to speak about your projects, and I think that you need to get a little bit more of an audience for what you're building.
Do you know when, if I'm honest with you, I remember when, I think it was last on Stone Space. So I'd gone on, I think there was a couple of us from the panel there, and there was a lot of meme coins there. No, nothing against meme coins at all. Like, I'm advocate of the technology, but sometimes I feel like we take their thunder because we already have stuff their assets run on. And it can almost be, I try to avoid diving too much into their stuff because we can almost be almost like too attractive. And I don't want to upset anyone in the space by being like, oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, DPFM, but in the process, you're not attracting anything.
Well, actually, that's actually okay because our main focus is
you don't want to get the wrong attention.
Well. Not exactly. So we're probably going into a phase now where we're going to start waking Fusion up. That is a thing.
Okay.
We're probably going to talk to a few people and say, look, do you want some assistance here? We have got some collaboration stuff coming, right? Make no mistake. No Live Free's aware of it. We've got about 4 or 5 meme coin collaborations coming. So there is.
Really? Which meme coins are these?
Are we allowed to say Live Free, or I don't know? Is it?
Yeah, sure, no problem. We're dealing right
Sorry,
now.
I'm nosy.
No, it's fine. We're talking with Dude. We have their designs already for the Megabits programs. We're talking with Camelta. We already have their designs ready to go.
Those are big ones. The Spec you're involved with those too, aren't you?
Yeah, Specs in there, in their things. We've already talked with Freedom Phoenix, the guy from the radio show.
Really? Yeah.
We're just going to start his designs for the Megabit program. And we have 2 more. Well, actually, we have B Meta Yacht, the program, the B Meta Yacht project.
Okay.
We are going to start their Megabit designs.
Okay.
And we have 1 more that I'm gonna probably just keep that in my back pocket for right now.
Okay, no problem.
But anybody,
that's great.
Yeah, and we're open to have projects come. If you want to DM me at DPMF Live or my Live Free account. And if you're interested in having fun in our Megabits project, we'll take a look at your project. And if it's something that we find that's going to be feasible and doable, Daniel obviously is always the final word. But if we see it's good for both projects, DPMF and the interested project, just come talk to us, and we can design three megabits for your projects. They will be rigged already, and so they'd be ready to go. And we can start this. It's almost the same thing like the AVA project. It's going to have its own little platform where you can play with them, and also be DeFi gaming with the megabits.
Exactly. So
Oh,
yeah,
very cool.
we got some stuff coming. I wanted to
Yeah, you're like right on the precipice of like doing a
wait
lot.
till so Fusion, we're just configuring it so it's free to join and create a profile, free to trade on. So I want to make sure we got that in place. I want to make sure we've got that in place, and then we'll launch and do all these fun collaborations and try and wake up the ecosystem a bit more, and shake some hands and get chatting with a few people and make crypto a bit more fun again. It used to be really fun, try and bring some life into it. We have got stuff planned in the pipeline. But with what I was saying earlier, do try it. I don't like going on a space when there's loads of meme coins. I don't like to try and sound like I'm better than them. So sometimes I feel like that because we have quite a lot to talk about, which can be quite interesting. So I'd like to because I want to support the whole network.
Yeah, yours is a very like layered ecosystem. It is very different, so I can
Yeah,
understand.
exactly. And people will come to us when they're ready. We never asked any. We had collections launched on Fusion. We have artists who still use it quite a lot, and we don't ask them to do that. We don't reach out to people and say, "Hey, look, you must use our platform." Or you can use any asset. Blah blah blah. It's there as a supportive arm for the time being.
I know, but DPM, like, it feels like, but the people on here, the communities are really aggressive with, marketing and, you can get so easily overshadowed just through that effect of how,
Oh yeah,
you understand?
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was just kind of drilling you guys a little bit. Sorry for that. I just
Vamsi,
really want to.
I'm looking at the link that you shared, the crypto
Yeah.
trading hub.
Uh-huh.
That I don't think that's us. I think I'm want to
Yeah,
say,
that is.
and
This
I may be wrong.
Chris is posting on it. Yeah, that is us. Yeah, we've got them. That's where them traders are we coming across soon from the stock market.
Right, but I'm wondering how much of it. I went into our main account, and I looked at the crypto trading hub, the DPMF, and it's not anywhere through our official crypto trading hub. It's not anywhere posted that is going to be a meetup. I'm wow. I'm kind of thinking. I'm wondering if somebody's just copied all that information and created their own thing. They just mirror all the information because it's not coming up on X in our crypto trading hub DPMF
No, hang on a minute.
XDX.
Give me a minute. I'll have a fast look. Give me a second.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I see it now. Forget it. I take it back. It is coming in. It is coming in through our official one. I do take it back. It's on
We have
on
a
the top
process
window.
of working things out here, Bamsey. I'm sure
But
you
yeah, this is us
It's
doing
okay.
admin.
No,
This is
I'm happy. Like I was able to be your secretary for a few minutes.
Mike. You free
uh,
on Wednesday, Mike?
So what, are we talking an evening?
Has anyone checked the podcast group? Because I think
It's
it might be on there.
it's supposedly at 1:00 on Wednesday my time, so that means it's 6:00 your time. No, it's 7:00 your time.
Yeah,
So
7 p.m. Yeah, I'll be
7
alright.
p.m. UK time.
Yeah,
But who the hell
I'm
posted
there.
it? I'm just still curious. Who posted it?
I think it's Palace.
No way.
I think it's Palace. Yeah. No, I'm joking.
We have a team member that likes to keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah.
Well, hell, he should have warned us.
he was probably going to tell you later today, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the UK way, you see. We're just so relaxed, cup of tea, keep calm and carry on. I mean,
Bloody
what else can I
hell,
say?
Mike!
There's
Bloody
nothing that's going to
hell!
raise our blood pressure here. I mean, we're just chillaxed. We're chilled.
All right, Spec, you got the speaker. Go, come on up.
Man, I don't even remember what in the heck I was asking to come up about. I know when I did start to come up, I heard my name saying something about being involved. I'm not sure what that was about.
Vamsi mentioned your
But
name.
Yes, because you're
but
involved with like Camel Toe and Dude and all
oh
that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, so they mentioned that they were going to. That's one of the tokens that they were going to be listing.
uh, yeah, Camel Toe's tied into Digital
Yes,
Palm.
yes.
I highly support
By the
them.
way, Spec is the
Highly.
one that even introduced me to any of this community and NFT and meme. So he gets the credit for that. Thank you, Spec.
Yeah. Well, look. First off, to you guys, DPMF. Just again, thank you all for doing these spaces consistently and highlighting different projects and doing what y'all do in the way that you do it. You start, Vamsy brought up other spaces and like Stones and Freedoms, whoever else does them to get your stuff out there. Listening to both sides, I agree with both of y'all. Yeah, Stones used to be a lot of memes with spaces. It's the same with DGen hours. They start to evolve with what the time needs. And the way the memes have been going lately with all these launches turning out to be quick rugs or just not successes because people are there to make a quick buck. I would suggest listening into Stone Space, and he has evolved to some more project based things as well. So you might be able to fit yourself in there, and it would be good exposure. Not every day. I think it would be good exposure to what y'all are doing because I think projects do get lost in that hype and y'all know it, what Vamsy was talking about, some of the ones that probably don't necessarily need it, but they do get mixed in there. And that's why I was coming up, one of y'all, I don't know who it was, replied on one of my posts that I left y'all out of it. That was not by intent. I would never mean to do that stuff, but
Yeah, that was me ragging on you.
yeah, all you got to do is say something. I'll add it in. Forgive me. I do stuff on the fly. I'm always on my mobile and I'm usually always moving about. So even those long threads, they take me about 2 hours throughout the day and I'm doing about 8 other things. So I just try to do what I can for people. But if I leave y'all out, jump in there. But y'all damn sure didn't say anything when I put you in one of the articles I wrote. So there, I'll throw that back on you.
Post a link to the article, but I'll read it. I don't remember reading it.
So when you tag people in articles, apparently they don't get it.
You know,
You actually have to do the work.
X has been pretty lame recently about people coming into the people that you follow and the for you
Yeah.
in the for you column.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
swear I get like 10. I mean, if I follow somebody, I want to see everything that they post, but I don't.
Yeah.
I have to go into the for you, look at all
Yep.
this other crap that I'm not interested in, and then maybe get some nuggets out of it, you know?
Yeah. So can I give you a little insight? This was the other reason I was coming up to give y'all the option to help yourselves and anybody listening. Literally, I went through an experimental phase and I'm talking about X, not anything personal. Um, I went through an experimental phase where I was doing the whole reply guy stuff, which a lot of people were doing. And I got to an excessive amount, which actually kind of turned out in a positive way. But it was about January 14th where the X algorithm, I actually saw it change because I went from, I think it was 1.2 million impressions a day down to 300,000, down to 100,000, down to 10 to 15 to 20,000. And I read somebody's post, I don't remember who it was, and it said, you can use Grok for auditing your account. So I started doing that and a lot more of experimentation and, realizing the algorithm changed. X will tell you that, it doesn't give out the full algorithm stuff. There is some stuff open source and you can read it and figure out how to do things. But I started still kind of playing around with it, using Grok to help out. And then it hit me as like, stuff I do professional career, have done for a long time. I was like, I wonder if they're trying to do this. And the only way I can kind of compare it to is almost like a mind map, or anybody that, one of y'all's a paramedic, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
Palace.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all call it over there, command and control. It's what it's used in the military. It's kind of an organized structure where communication goes up and down through different branches, divisions, and layers. And it's kind of the way Discord is set up, with the main Discord. Then you got multiple servers. Within those servers, you got multiple channels. X's algorithm, and I did finally get this worked out, and I've got screenshots on some of the posts. It is the best way for us within the XRP community to use it, because the way we have been using it, we stayed within our own bubbles. The people you follow, the people that maybe follow them and retweet something that you put out, it may pop up in their feed. Now, X is looking for more organized content and original conversations kind of between those. So if you build threads, X's algorithm recognizes that as a branch out off of another conversation, and it signals it that it is a good conversation, and it not only boosts it within your followership and the people that follow you, but it boosts it to non-follower feeds. So people that aren't even on the XRPL. Specifically, if you use hashtags like art or NFTs, it could go to somebody on the Ethereum blockchain to finally see it. And that's exposure for us on the XRPL, right? So I ended up creating a community, and I can promise you this, through the community, I'm listed as an admin. When I post as admin, none of the retweets, comments, or impressions that go back to my individual account. Anybody in here can go and grok that and ask if that is true. It is true, because I asked. Those impressions don't go back to me if it's posted as the admin account. So this is literally no benefit to me. It's a benefit to the entire ecosystem. And what I do, I created it. It's a community, but honestly, I wish people would look at it as a tool. I start every day. I just do a morning post, and I'm still playing with it. I think this morning I kind of I quote tweeted one of Ekaserpe's things for Zahao Network. What that does is it gets people to see his post. But my post really is about branching out, whether it's trading, whether it's builders, whether it's NFT artists, whether it's memes, anything on the XRPL. You as DPMF Monk could go in there and be like, we're a builder. You quote tweet the pin tweet, just like you would any of your typical posts. That builds on top of two other posts that were already made that relate to the XRPL or something being built. And then it's just your followers, just like everybody rated the vote that I had for marketplaces, would go and post under your post, not under any of the ones we did. But what that does is it just starts a branching system of conversation that X's algorithm sees extremely interesting. And Grok actually said it was one of the best designs for an X community that it had seen for blockchain. And I know a couple people have used it, some have used it the wrong way. You can post in the community, but the only people that are going to see it are the people that are scrolling through the community. Or all you got to do is use it as a tool. Quote tweet, reply, that gives 3 layers right there automatically. And then all of your community members just post like normal on any of your posts. And some of the people that typically have like 200 views over 8 to 12 hours are seeing 800 to 900 views now. So it is somehow getting pushed out further, to more viewership, but it's something you can test and play with different ways. And I know the algorithm, I can say this, the algorithm said before, they were saying don't use hashtags. Well, it's back now. You can use 3-4 hashtags. And quote tweeting is more powerful than just retweeting. So I just wanted to throw that out there for y'all, maybe to help with the project, help with that engagement. I did see one of the posts about hating the way X is kind of restricting us. It's really, I kind of took the time to learn, what's best for everybody, and it's out there if you want to use it. So,
Cheers for that, Spec. It's very useful advice, actually, because I don't know how the algorithm works, so it's interesting to hear. Have you been meeting new people then coming in from using it?
not really from using that. I've been paying attention more to the views it's getting first. Lori with Trek has used it, and she's actually been getting people that are more interested in like outdoor adventure stuff. So she has actually been interacting now, just because some of her hashtags go to outdoor adventures or stuff like that. So she has pulled in some additional people. That now, whether I could say it was actually used because of that or just an individual post, I don't know. But she has gotten more views by quote tweeting the pinned post in that community, which essentially, if you picked up one person per every 100 views, you're growing slowly. But I do have screenshots in some of my posts there, within the community. I actually just posted one earlier. It was a quote post to one I did the other day that's got some of Grok's screenshots explaining how doing each of those actually is what's beneficial. It says it'll get you 2 to 5 times reach.
Well, you know what? It may be. I guess just keep on experimenting. What's what we need to do, and go from there. And hopefully they don't start to changing the algorithm again and have to relearn it again. But it's coming. They're going to change. They're going to change the algorithm again.
I thought the same thing as soon as I started doing this. I was kind of putting a lot of work in. I was like, man, these SOBs are going to end up a week from now changing something, and it was all going to be for nothing. But either way, yeah, I mean, it's something. A lot of people aren't using it. I don't know if they're waiting to see if it works. I know one of the other communities, I talked to them individually, and I was like, look, this benefits your community, your art community. Post from the art community, have all the artists then go post underneath of your post, and it spreads their information further out. But they were more concerned about building their own brand. And I know that's going to happen, but if you truly want to grow the space and what you got, you take advantage of the things that are there and offered to you for absolutely nothing.
Well, this is a growing, almost living environment, so we'll see. We'll see
Appreciate that,
how
Spec.
it begins.
Thanks for the info. And I must say, Spec, I
Oh,
love
no.
as a London boy, I do love your accent.
Gets deeper at
Oh
night.
man, it's like Tennessee whiskey. I mean, man.
He does, he does host those Whiskey Wednesdays or whatever, Whiskey Thursdays.
Mike, are you flirting with Spec?
No, I was literally, you know what, I'm just one of those guys where, we'd be in a pub, Spec, and somehow throughout the night I'd meet you. I talk to everyone.
I think Mike,
I'm gonna tell
I
you
think
what.
Mike is in that
If you
experimental phase. I don't know.
if you and I ever meet in a pub, you will see a completely different side of me that I think you will
Yeah,
enjoy.
no, I'm looking forward to it, Spec. If you're ever in London, you hit me up. We'll have a great night.
Spec, where are you at, actually?
I come to London.
Oh, Ramsey, you're invited. Come, man. Yeah, come. We'll have a great time.
Yeah.
We do. We
Thank
have
you.
a really fun time when we go out.
There's actually an Istanbul gallery that I love that just opened a gallery in I think maybe it's near Mayfair. Anyway, Dirimart. I don't know if you've heard of them. Dirimart. They're like the largest gallery in Istanbul. They're pretty impressive.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They have like Tony Craig works and other like huge artists. Um, yeah. Anyway,
What are
I
they
think
having a
enough
night?
pieces.
Are they having like an event?
They did have a huge opening. I couldn't attend it, but I can send you the information. It could be probably good to connect, or when I came, like connect you guys.
But any of you guys, if you're ever in the UK, hit us up.
100%.
I just shared your community channel in the comments, so anyone looking to
Yeah,
join.
I appreciate that. I just saw that. I was gonna say somebody had asked. I'm actually Virginia on the East Coast, pretty much Virginia Beach. But yeah, that what you shared, one of them goes back to the quote post that I did for XRPL this morning. I'm just looking at it. This is for an example. That post, which honestly he made is just an update for what he's been building, has gotten 817 views. His typical post for that age is, well, he's got 875 there. 431 was his original one. So it did double those numbers. And that was just from earlier. So they'll slowly, some of them are over 1,000 that he has. Some of them are only 100. So it's definitely different ways you can use it and test it out.
How many
But
views did your vote get in the end?
that marketplace,
Yeah.
the votes, I want to say it was 200. I got to go back and look. I want to say it was 200, but that thing had like 16,000 views. So that's kind of a bad ratio, but somehow it got pushed out.
All right, Daniel. Do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about for the updates today?
I know it's a shame Chris isn't here actually, because it relates to some of the RWA stuff. We are exploring. We have I can't remember what it's called now. You make 3D models. What's it called? You might know what it is, Mike.
The 3D printer or what?
That's it. Yeah, we got a 3D printer. So some of the team are keen to do some of the AVA characters as physical 3D characters, as little ornaments.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
Yeah. Well, have you seen how complex the AVA characters?
Well, yeah, I was just thinking that because they're very complex. So it'd be interesting to see the output.
Yeah, you transition them into I think it's a STL file, and then go on the print. So we've got a small one to play around with. That's probably like, just something in the background with, playing around with them. But other than that, so what it's going to be from here is, we'll be releasing each character that's already out from before in the full 3D version. And gearing up for beta launch for public. That's kind of the main thing we're going. With the absolute aim of utilizing NFTs and assets. So the AVA program, we will have areas where all XRPL currencies will run. Some tailored to our own. And I can see, not certain, we did kind of start it a few years ago, but we'll probably have some form of project AVAs, if you like, that we might even just give to other project communities, come play. Wes is, obviously with me, there's a whole story being written. in the background. We went over some scripts again today relating to it, which is actually really hard to do. Wes would agree. He gets. Do you want to comment, Wes, while we're on it? Because you've been a bit quiet tonight.
Yeah, well, we've nailed down the background story, which I think was the most important part because it allows us to move forward now and tie everything together, and people can have a clear understanding in the direction it's going, and also what happened as well. It's a little bit under wraps at the moment, but when it comes out, it's going to be extremely meaty.
There you go, extremely meaty. So yeah, I suppose to add, to finalise on it, we've been working on the AVA program we started building characters in 2021, start 2022, and built a handful on, further going. With that in mind, it was always the game was to utilize NFTs. That was always the goal, but back then we didn't have the technology on the network to do that, but it exists now. So, going forward, I think we're going to do quite well out of it. But one of the main things is I think people are going to enjoy it. They're going to enjoy playing it. And that's one of the key factors to it. There's a lot of hurdles that we've come across over the past, year, maybe a little bit more than that in relation to it. But not challenges that we can't, overcome, and I'm sure we'll come up with more when we have the beta. But yeah, it's something, this is one of my favorite programs because it's another stepping stone into where we go into the future. Because the reason we're doing this, the reason why we're trying to utilize NFTs is because we want to have NFTs as collateral for decentralized finance going later. In this kind of evolution of finance, that's where we're going. That's why we built an NFT exchange. That's why there's a gaming platform which incorporates these NFTs. Then them NFTs will be incorporated into collateral, and they're kind of the 3 big steps into going where we're going in the future. And there's a lot of people in the background who deserve credit, like a hell of a lot of people who don't come on spaces. They're not on social media, working with me all the time. There is a lot of people involved, and I think we're going to capture a lot of interest. I think it will turn the AVA program will turn some heads where people are going to be like, I want to get involved in this. And we're going to do it in a way where we utilize NFTs and cryptocurrency and make it more attractive and try and turn the ecosystem where it's like, I want to get involved in that stuff. I want to get involved in this new technology and this new innovation. And that's one of the aims, so.
Well, you know what? Opening up the games, like you said, just to even non-blockchain users, just the Web 2 world, shall we say, Call of Duty players, all these other, player versus player, Sony's PlayStations and the Xboxes, and allowing them to come in for free and get a taste of what's available for free, by playing the games. Obviously, they won't be able to earn any money because they don't have the wallet, but it will attract them. I feel it will attract them and entice them. You know what? I can just get a Zaman wallet because Zaman is the only one that we're going to be using for right now until we get the other, the DPMF wallet. I can open up a Zaman wallet and I can mint this thing. And I can earn some money. And I mean, instead of being a negative, when you have to play the PlayStation game, that you have to buy the game and you have to buy the skins and you have to buy the weapons and you have to buy the guns. This, you can actually, it's a positive because you can earn from it.
And you own the key thing is you own it. So for example, if in years later we had to turn down the first part of the AVA program, as in just shut it off, people still own them NFTs. They still own them, and inside them they do have meta config identifiers. So in truth, even now, so right now with the RDX AVA out, if we work with a 3D ecosystem, depending on what they're on, we would need a slight bit of coding and configuration, as everyone would. but you'd be able to run around with that character in someone else's game. And that's a really key factor I see going with NFTs. It's like game interoperability. And, the bigger it is, the more complex it's going to be. But, I can see that being the future with NFTs related to gaming is being and I'd be well open for anyone on the XRP ledger who's doing anything with 3D ecosystems and 3D NFTs, etc., to pull them in on ours, and tailor it. I was going to say caveat, but it's not a caveat. There is, so most probably wouldn't know this. If you want to upgrade a dynamic NFT by another issuer, you would have to have the keys in order to do that. So, for example, the AVA program, in the game, the keys are in there, so the characters can upgrade in the game, but when we pull it to other 3D ecosystems, depending on what that kind of game is, they wouldn't be able to upgrade the character unless there was a tailored way to do it, and we've allowed the keys for that. But that's a really big exploitation of security with DNFTs. So as powerful as it is to have dynamic NFTs, you can have, you could be exploited if the keys were on another platform with a partnering project. They could be exploited where they could wipe the NFTs. That's a security issue. That's why, for the moment, there's only 2 of us that hold the issuer keys for the, Megabits program. That's why we don't allow the team in DPF Labs to mint them, because if they ever get exploited, they could be dangerous. Just as a safety thing there, which is very key, something to look at with DNFTs. I don't think it would ever happen. We had a similar thing with the burn flag years ago with NFTs. So if the burn flag was applied, people were worried that the whole collection would be minted out and then the issue would burn them all. I don't think that ever happened. It's Spec, you might know because you're more in tune with the NFT community overall. That never happened, did it? Anything like that?
Can you repeat the first part? It was breaking up real bad.
Yeah, so the burn flag for NFTs, if the issuer has the burn flag attached to NFTs, there's never been a situation where someone's launched an NFT collection and then the NFT issuer has burned them all, even though they're owned by other people. That's never happened, has it?
Not on purpose. Which is kind of scary that is even there, because somebody could go in and do it, I guess. I can't remember. I have seen some where it was they had the burn flag and they did burn it, but it was to replace with like another collection. And I think at the time, the way everything was set up, it made a lot of work for the project founder to do that, which even a much larger collection would make it worse. But, I think it was something to build on to.
There you go. So I hadn't heard of that before. I didn't know someone had actually done it to replace. But there's a place, there's a reason, or there are utilized roles for the burn flag with NFTs, but not really with artwork. It'd be with other stuff. But dynamic NFTs as well. They have the same. They do carry the same thing. So the keys. If anyone ever listening wants to do a DNFT collection, the security of the keys is paramount as well. Same as it's your own wallet. It's very, very important that you secure the keys to it. But other than that, I haven't got any further points, Live Free, unless you've got any questions or anyone else does.
Now's your time, guys. If you have any questions, get it off your chest. If not, we'll be finishing up the show.
Has NSCV done a poem?
Yes, we're just
Are
about done.
Are you doing the voice?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's.
I like this bit.
You opened up your mic. Were you going to say something? No. Okay.
Oh, no. I just wanted to say thank you. Sorry, I was like messaging in the background, and it was very gracious of you to allow me to come and speak as much as I did. Thank you, guys. And I loved learning about your project.
Oh, I'm glad you were able to learn a little bit more about us, and we're very happy to have you listen to us. And just join us anytime if you have any questions. Join our Telegram or X or DM.
Yeah. Yeah, it was lovely talking with you, Vamsi.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was lovely talking to you too. And I'm looking forward to the unplanned space you have on the 4th.
Yeah,
So are we.
we're still doing the logistics on that one. All right, we have reached the poetry segment of our show where one of our members, NSCV, has written a short poetic lyrics dedicated to DPMF.
Years of unseen creation we have seen. Infrastructures of innovation are laid in plain. Walking roads untraveled, bleeding unseen. The love of all leads to a creation that embraces all. Fusion to the chain has played its role and gave its soul. This complex sea of beauty will see tides rise and fall. Many beauties have been hidden that our minds are yet to see. DPMF is painting scenes of an endless tomorrow where views are free. Scenes of glee and beauty are shaded with colors freely. DPMF's painting by NSCV.
This show was sponsored by FUZION-XIO.com, a premier permissionless NFT platform where you can mint and sell your NFTs in any of the over 64,715 issued coins on the XRPL. The XRPL added about 700 new tokens this past week. FUZION-XIO.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
Wow, it's interesting. Yeah.
FUZION-XIO now has the capability to see and manipulate the 3D dynamic NFTs and is now offering permissionless minting of your awesome 3D dynamic NFTs with the all-new currency minting on the XRPL. Next on the development plate is viewing the 3D NFTs, which is the GLB and the FBX files in augmented reality. Soon you will also have the ability to get the future YEM Part 1 and 2 rewards. The current YEM Infinity reward went out today, so check your wallets. Remember, to be able to unlock the yield earning mechanism, you will need to own at least one XIO, and the amount of YEM Infinity reward depends on the amount of XDX you own. Currently, there are 286 holders that have at least one XIO and are eligible to receive all the YEMs. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, please reach out on X or Telegram. Please follow all the speakers here.
Don't take anything we say as financial advice. Do your own research. With that said, we bid you farewell and hope you join us again next week for another deep dive into the blockchain world. This show is recorded, so if you missed a part of it, you can go back and listen to the show. Please share and have a beautiful day. Ciao, all you beautiful people.